Hello, welcome to Blocked episode 39. I'm Neil. I've remembered to introduce myself for a change. With me is the fabulous Annie of A Stitch in the Sky.
Hello.
How are you, Annie?
I'm good, thank you.
I was just thinking, as we logged in then, when I do that countdown thing, it kind of, I'm thinking about not having it anymore because I think it gets you kind of nervous. It gets me nervous, as it's counting down. I think, oh God, I'm going live in a minute. In 5 seconds. It's like, you're going to get pushed on stage, isn't it?
Yes,
so,
yeah.
So what's been happening? You've been gallivanting around, haven't you? Where did you go? You went spinning somewhere, didn't you?
I went to Newcastle to the race course. It's only about, maybe about 30 miles. I don't quite know how far Newcastle is.
How long did it take you to get there? Was it over an hour?
I don't really know. No, I don't suppose it was.
So it's safe then. It was safe to travel. Yeah.
Yeah, it was all right. Actually,
you didn't have to have a stay over.
It was a nice journey and it's a lovely place. It was a really good venue. The parking was really easy. There was no congestion or anything getting there. Yeah, it was good. And it's a nice old building.
I've only been to Newcastle once and it was to drop somebody off to do, is it the Great North Run? I didn't do the Great North Run, but I just drove there, dropped them off, and then I went home. So I didn't really see it. But I'd like to go and have a look around because it's supposed to be quite a cool city, isn't it?
Yeah, Newcastle's good. Yeah, it's all right. Yeah.
Oh, I just noticed your top. Tell us about your top. There's a story behind that, I feel.
It's sparkly. It's actually green and purple and white. Suffragette or turf colours, whichever you would prefer. Yeah, so I don't spend a lot of money on clothes. But at the moment, if I need a new top, I just buy it from, what is it? Let Women Speak. Because it raises funds for Kelly J. Keane and Party of Women and things. And
is that on? Yeah, you have to go to their website, don't you? Is it Let
Women? Yeah, because other people are doing merch, but her merch actually benefits the movement, not the individual. So I've got another one on the way, and she's bringing some more out. So
yeah, if you haven't watched Kelly J. Keane, everybody go and she's called Posey Parker, isn't she? I think is that what she's called on YouTube?
I think she's Kelly J. Keane now.
Oh, is it? Go and look her up and see.
She's a bit quiet for a week. She did one today saying that she was I can't remember how she titled herself. She'd given herself a new title, and she would like police forces to refer to her when dealing with women.
As a community leader, wasn't it?
That was it. Yeah, it was on Twitter.
Yeah, because whenever the riots were going on, the police went to see the community leaders. And it's like, well, who are these community leaders? They've not been elected. It's not like they're the local councillors.
For women.
Yeah, well, I've decided I'm a community leader as well for the knitters of Britain. So, and you can be my assistant, Annie.
Right, okay. Thank you.
So the police need to come and ask our advice whenever they want to do any policing anywhere. So anyway, what was I going to ask you first?
Yes, I could tell them what to do.
Yeah, exactly. We've got to be dead careful, haven't we? Because our country is absolutely crazy at the moment in terms of what we're, going to get arrested for or not arrested for. So we're probably going to have to do a bit of double speak. So you might have to read between the lines a little bit if we talk about riots and things. Yeah. And I don't know whether I know the American people who are watching have seen some of the stuff because there's loads of idiot British people saying that Americans should be extradited and arrested and sent over, brought over here to be put on trial. For what exactly? For speaking their mind about things. And they want Elon Musk particularly. They really hate him for some reason.
Is it lots of people that hate him or just kind of the odd individual?
That are calling for it, you mean? Or
yeah, there are lots of people supporting that.
Yeah, it's all the lefties, all the left-wing people are crazy. And they want the sort of usual suspects arrested. They want Nigel Farage in prison. And it's like, well, what has he done exactly? If you've not committed a crime. Well, yeah. I mean, I have my own issues with Nigel Farage, but on this one, I would probably defend him because he's not done anything criminal as far as I know anyway.
No.
And obviously they want Tommy Robinson, but they always want Tommy Robinson, don't they? But yeah, some of the stuff that we've seen. Oh, we've got a question from Mrs. Emily Marple or Marpy. Hello, why does Annie call her channel A Stitch in the Sky?
I know it's a little bit long-winded.
It's all right, we've got
time. I stitch for a living, and then my hobby's all stitching. And the other main thing I do is walk around gazing at the sky. That's about it. And taking photographs of the sky and the beach and the sea. And yeah, it's to do with daydreaming and liking to stitch, I think.
So do you trip up a lot because you're staring up all the time?
No. Somehow I just don't.
She says, thank you. You're very welcome. And what's this one? Swami Mommy identifies as Empress of the World. Yeah. Good for you. Who's allowed to say otherwise? So, I wanted to show you some books because I've not done a live for ages. It must be 5 or 6 weeks, if not longer. So over the weeks, I've been collecting some books, and there's a couple of them that I think you would quite like. I got this one, which is Dutch Ganzis, because I noticed you've got a Ganzi book as well, and I've got a few now. I've got a bit of a collection going, and this one's quite interesting because they are different, definitely different construction, and they're a little bit. What's the word? Probably less. Trying not to show any of the pattern. Probably, a little bit simpler than the traditional British or English Ganzis. So I think they might be a little bit more wearable for, someone, I don't know, for the husbands out there that wouldn't necessarily wear a full-on Ganzi, but they're not quite as busy. And they've got different necklines as well. They've got kind of very simple necklines, whereas some of the Ganzis have those rolled over necklines that are quite difficult. So there's that one. It's quite a good book, actually. Lots of history in it.
They don't have any shaping, do they?
Wait, straight up and down. I think the interesting bit of the shaping is the underarm gussets. They kind of have these diamonds, don't they? But apart from that, they are just straight up and down, because they were for men, weren't they? Ganzis traditionally were for men, so I don't think they needed any. I mean, I know they adapt them now. Oh, the other one I wanted to show you, and this is weird because you mentioned this book, and then it came up in my Amazon wish list. So obviously, not my wish list, but in my recommended. So obviously, it'd been listening to us, but I did get it because it was only £3, £2.80. So I found the pattern that you've been making, which I thought was quite interesting. So see,
it is,
Because what's it called? Is it this one? No, it's not that one.
You've got mine here.
I'll tell you what I noticed, because I've not knitted. I've not knitted that many garments for babies. I've knitted a few, but is it that one that you're making?
It says garter stitch cardigan. Yeah, that's the one.
Is it that one? Yeah. And the thing that I noticed in here is how big the necks are, and I know they've got to be, but in this they seem to be huge. Is that normal?
Oh, I don't know. I thought that one looked all right, really.
Oh yeah, that one. It's not. I'll see if I can find the one that sort of shocked me. Actually, I'm looking at them now, and they all look all right. I think I dreamt it. Here we go.
The nice construction and details are kind of modern, aren't they?
They're very different, but it's one of those little ones like that. The girl there, a neck sort of seems a bit weird to me. I mean, I might be completely wrong. I know they have big heads compared.
Might be a slash neck, that one.
Oh, is that what they call it?
Is it just a straight line?
Yeah, it looks like it. Kind of a bit like what I know as a boat neck, but and then there's a couple of other ones that I thought were a bit kind of odd. I think this would look better with sleeves, really.
Yeah, it's a slash neck, that.
See, like that one I thought was a bit weird. To me, it needs sleeves. I mean, all the mums out there will be like, no, it's beautiful.
There's some really nice ones in it, though. And there's a hoodie.
What page is that on?
This is nice.
What page is that?
That's a good question with these glasses on. 38.
38. Ah, it's the one I opened it at. Yeah, so that one, isn't it? Yeah.
Oops. Yeah. There's some real good details on some of them.
Yeah, that's what I liked about it when I saw it, because there's some of the pattern details. Even if you don't knit the baby's item, you'd probably steal the the pattern. I quite like this Tree of Life. I don't think it's called Tree of Life, but I like that one as well.
Yeah, it's nice. So how do you say the designer's name?
Oh God, Vibe Ulrich Sondergaard.
Yeah, something like
that. I don't know. Then another one that I got, and this one, when it arrived, I was a bit worried because it's crochet sweaters for men. Well, it's not all sweaters. I think there's 5 or 6 sweaters, and the rest are hats and scarves and stuff. But they were actually very simple construction, which I liked. But when I opened it, it was very much like that fake book that I got. Do you remember? I don't know if you saw it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And I thought, shit, this is another one of those fake books. So I went through it all and found, but then I found it's all by, the woman's name is on the front. So Michelle Ferguson, her name is. So I went online to search for it, and these are all of her patterns, and there's no extra bits in. So I think it's real. I think, but I don't know whether I don't know whether someone's just copied it, though. That's the thing. So if anybody knows Michelle, there she is, and knows her well enough to ask her if this is the real book, let me know. But some of the patterns in it I really like, actually. There's it's not for everybody. I get that, but this one is like a hoodie. Actually, I'll show you the one on the cover. It's the green one on the cover. I really like it. And the pattern on it, I don't know whether you can see, but I've never seen that pattern before on crochet. It's hard to see because it's with tweed yarn as well, so it's kind of and it's fingering weight though. I don't fancy making a sweater for myself in fingering weight. So there's that, and then the last one I got, which I think you'll really like. It's all women's sweaters though, which is traditional Danish sweaters. Sweaters, can't say it properly now. And this has got some really nice pattern, stitch patterns in.
Liz says babies have big heads. Yes, they do have big heads. Yeah. Sometimes it's a struggle to dress them. It is. A lot of the patterns in that first book have buttons around the neckline somewhere.
Or like at the top here.
Yeah, or just to split down one side with the buttons. Yeah.
Well, I've been making that yellow one. I haven't had that yellow and grey one with Tunisian crochet, but I've got a feeling it won't fit because of the head. I mean, because I've done it, I'm making it for you, so I'll send it to you. But, if it doesn't fit, it doesn't fit. It's just one of them things,
Okay.
But, that's why I'm thinking I'll make one out of that book so that I know it will fit. Just trying to find an example to show you in here. Anyway, I'll show you these. But anyway, it's got all, different charts in and so forth, and quite a few patterns. But next time I see you, I shall bring it with me because you might like some of it. I don't know.
You're coming back?
Well, I was supposed to be coming in January, aren't I? I think.
Yeah, of course you are, yeah.
Shall we tell everyone what we'll be doing in January?
Yeah, you can.
Annie is going to teach me how to sew shirts for myself. So I'm going to come up for a few days. Yeah, so she's going to help me with a pattern that either, I don't know if I'm going to buy one or one from something that fits me already. And then
probably something that fits you already that's your favourite. We can go from there. That would probably be.
Yeah, it's going to be easier, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, and because I can sew straight lines. I can make cushion covers, and I could easily turn up a curtain if I, watched a video on how to do it. But what I don't think I'm going to be able to do, well, it's not that I don't think I can do it. This is where I'm going to really need you to show me, is the collar.
Yeah.
Because I just can't get me. I've watched a few videos of it, and I just can't get my head around the whole inside out bit.
Oh,
do you know what I mean? It's like because you kind of. It's what? Sorry, it's fun.
It's fun.
Yeah, I just can't visualize it in my head.
So you make your collar bit and turn that through, and then you make then you add the collar stand, and then turn that through, and then it gets sewn to your shirt.
Yeah, that's the bit. It's like, so what I'm going to have to do. So I'm going to bring my sewing machine with me because I've got a sewing machine, and hopefully the way I've got it in my head is that we'll set up next to each other and you'll show me, and then I'll have a go on mine, because whatever we do, because I don't have like is it an overlocker, or what do they call them in America? Serger. Is it a serger they call them in America?
Yeah, they do.
So I've got to really do everything as if I don't have one of those. And I know you have one, but I wouldn't have that at home to be able to make.
Yeah, well, quite often they use kind of a jean seam or a French seam on a shirt. And the only seam that you need to worry about is the one that comes down the sleeve and down the side.
Oh, right.
That's the only one.
Why? Why is that?
Or actually maybe some of the armhole, but because you have obviously the hem's turned up twice, so that doesn't need overlocking. You have cuffs to finish your sleeves off, got a collar around to stop the stop you needing anything around the neck. The collar's turned in, and then you've got your can't think, over your shoulders. That's double.
The yoke.
The yoke, and that's another bit that's fun.
I suppose it's that thing though, isn't it? It's like I find the tricky bits of knitting fun.
Yeah.
Whereas at the moment I'm such a beginner that it's kind of like a bit like, oh God, this is where I'm going to fail, and I don't like to fail. I want to get this right, So Mrs. Emmy Marple said it's like a burrito, yoke and collar. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I presume it's something to do with wrapping it up. And Therese, who I also know sews a lot, it's not hard. You just have to be precise, kind of like baking. Okay. Yeah. Would you agree?
Yes.
Is it a bit like woodwork where you measure twice, sew once?
Precise enough. Because I have taught people who are like more than precise.
Oh, a bit anal, a bit.
It doesn't, too many pins, takes too long to make anything, things like that.
I'll probably be a bit like
cut
that.
Out, and it's symmetrical. It's going to be fine. Yeah, and we have to get the pattern right in the first place.
I've got actually I don't know where it is, but I've got a. I don't know. It's in one of these drawers somewhere. But I bought a rabbit teddy bear type thing pattern years ago, and it's all in there, everything. And I just took it out and looked at the pattern and thought, oh, this is easy. And then just wrapped it all up, put it back, and it's been in that drawer ever since. And I must have had it in there for about 10 years, because I've had the sewing machine 9 or 10 years, I think. Right. And for 8 years, because actually, no, it's longer than that, sorry, because I know I've not used it since I've had the cats. And the cats are 11. So it's 11 years since I've used it. So I'm hoping it'll work. But it should do, shouldn't it?
Yeah, there's no reason why it wouldn't.
Yeah, it's not like being used like to within the point of it needing a service even. I don't. It probably needs the needle changing, won't it? I would imagine.
I buy second-hand ones. Because I've got an industrial to do me straight stitches. I only need a sewing machine. I always look around my room, don't I? Because I'm in this room. Buttonholes and bits, fancy bits and bobs and things. I always need like a domestic for that. So I did drop my old Benina, and then I bought a faff off the internet, and that's all right.
Oh, I've heard of faff.
Yeah.
I've not heard of Benina, but I've heard of faff.
Right, a lot of the time, the mistake that people make when they think that the machine is broken is they haven't taken the bottom plate off, because where the needle goes in and out, you get a collection of fluff. Between the teeth can be completely rammed with fluff, and your thread will snap all the time. So that's the one biggie mistake that people make, never cleaning out underneath the plate.
What I'll do before I bring it up, though, I will get it out and I'll just get it going again and just do a few, because I need to make sure it's loaded up on the spools as well. Because I can't remember how to load the bobbins. I mean, I know that it's easy, isn't it? I'm sure when I see it, I'm sure I'll remember the route to do it. But,
they're all more or less the same. They come across from the thread, and then down through a tensioner, and then you've got your little spring, and then up and then down through your needle. So they're all kind of similar, and everything's online, isn't it? Everything's on YouTube. How to do everything.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, when we do it, we'll have to figure out a way where we can record you teaching me, because I think it'll be hilarious. You know, you'll have to have like a ruler, smacking me knuckles if you get it wrong. I think people will watch that. But
I think you'll do all right.
Yeah, I think it's just this collar. At this moment in time, I just can't get my head around it. And I've watched a few videos, and even to the point where I thought, oh, shall I just go with a granddad collar, even though I can't stand granddad collar shirts. I really don't like them. But I think, no, I need to do it. I need to do it properly, don't I? And then
only one extra piece, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's a funny piece.
One's got 3 faffs.
Yeah, there's a YouTube for that. Yeah, she's got 3 faffs, yeah. And Senko, I have 2 sewing machines, but take clothes to a seamstress to alter for the kiddos. Too many irons in the fire. Going to it. Yeah, that's the other thing. This is why I think when I do this, it is literally just to make shirts. I'm not gonna. I think I've only got the headspace for that. I don't think I've got the headspace to suddenly start making clothes for other people or anything like that. I want to be able to have a routine where I just think, right, this is a new shirt that I'm going to have, bish, bash, bosh, done,
Yeah.
Because how long would it take you? I mean, I know you've got years. How long would it take you to do a shirt, though? How long? It probably would take 20 minutes, wouldn't it, probably?
Well, it depends which if you mean just actually sewing, yeah, it wouldn't take too long to sew. It'd be more than 20 minutes.
Is it the cutting, the pattern cutting that's the longest bit?
You need to cut it out. You need to cut the interfacing and press it in, like interfacing onto some of it.
Oh, right. Is that just the yoke bit and the collar, or would that be the whole thing?
It's one piece of your collar, one piece of your collar stand, and one like one side of your cuffs.
Right. So you could make a shirt in a day easily, couldn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. See, that's why, because I'd like to be able to just make one shirt every month. Say, I'd be happy with that.
Yeah, that would be nice, wouldn't it? But you might want to make something like a waistcoat.
Yeah, yeah, and that'd be
simpler than a shirt.
Yeah, but although you got that fancy bit at the back, haven't you? That can be a bit tricky, I've heard.
Well, do you wear waistcoats? I mean, you could go for sort of a casual waistcoat, like...
I would if I had the right shirt to go with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sometimes they look a bit weird, but yeah. So that'll be my new thing in the channel, talking about shirts.
It should be my new thing, but it's...
Well, you used to do tutorials, didn't you?
Very much.
Because as I was looking for stuff, one of yours actually came up.
What was it? How to sew badges on uniforms?
Oh, it could. Yeah, there was that one, but I'm sure there was another one. There was
that video beats every video I ever make every week.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
How to sew badges, and that's hand sewing on any uniform. Right. How to hand sew a badge on a uniform.
Wow.
It gets watched all over the world.
Brilliant.
This is a waistcoat I made for me, but I made it years ago. It's got a lot of shaping in it and a little bow on the back. It's kind of tweedy. It's
cool.
It's got a little bow. It needs letting out now. And I thought I was going to chuck it out, and then when I had a look, it's got quite a lot of fabric in the seams. It's got quite a lot to be let out, so I'm going to let it out. See if I can get it to fit me.
Can you not just loosen that bit at the back, that kind of belt bit, or do you need?
There isn't one. It's all thick. It's all tweed all the way around.
Ah, right.
Wouldn't
it be easier just to make yourself a new one?
Shaped. No. No.
What do I know?
This tweed is often a narrow loom. I bought it in Scotland, and you can't really see, I don't think, but you can.
See, to make you bigger. Colours. Hold on.
No, that's all right.
No, I'll make you bigger. Hold on. How do I do it? I can't remember. How do I take myself off?
It's got lots of different colours in it. This way. So it's kind of nice Shetland wool that was woven, probably hand woven on a narrow loom. So I can't replace the fabric.
Very nice. Fancy pockets.
Oh, and it's got my label in it. One of my old labels.
Oh, let me take myself off.
It's one of my old labels.
I'll have to get myself some labels, won't I? Literally
yes.
Hitler. Not So anyway, shall we... what are you knitting on at the moment before we get onto the magazine? I'm
doing that sleeve.
Oh, for the baby.
I'm doing that sleeve for the baby cardigan. And I need to refer to me pattern again, really.
And did you figure out why? Because did you say it was the second sleeve was coming out shorter than the other sleeve? Is that what you said in your latest video?
Yes, only because I didn't count the rows properly on the first one. So on the second one, I thought I will count the rows properly. And but you're increasing all the time, and then you decrease, and then you increase, and then you decrease, and then it was when it decreases, that's when you've got the right amount of stitches, I think.
Right. So is it going to look okay? Like, or will it be the same when you finished? Yeah.
Yeah, I might have to pull this one back and do it again, because I think that the shaping is going to be sooner than I had. I had it on this one because, you know, with garter stitch, you can count your bump, and that's 2 rows, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
So you can't count to 7 very easily.
Why so I was increasing would you put 7?
Yeah, so that's how often the increases were until you got to a certain amount of stitches.
Right.
I don't think the last one's that far out. I'll have to see.
You'll have to use some stitch markers probably, won't you? You know, to put on your 7th row.
I've been writing it down on a piece of paper.
Old-fashioned way.
Old-fashioned way, yeah.
Well, all I've been doing, well, I say all, I've got a few things I've been working on, but this is the thing to try and get me back into knitting, because I've been so off my knitting for a while now, and just wanting to crochet. So I thought, right, I need new socks. I'm desperate for new socks. So I'm knitting myself from old stash. This is a 6-ply, so it's sport weight, I think, isn't it? 6-ply? No. Yeah, 6-ply. And it's Regia. It's a Regia one. So I've had it about a million years. I can't remember. So I'm just doing a Flegel heel. And I was telling you before, I made a bit of a mistake with the toe, because it's been a while since I've knitted a sock. And I just made the toe a bit too pointy. But it'll be fine when it's on my foot.
Yeah, it'll be fine. It'll just shape to your foot, won't it, when you start wearing it?
When you pull it out, you can see it'll be fine.
Yeah.
But I've really enjoyed knitting this, and I was kind of pleased, because I've tried to do a few socks previous to this to get back into it, because I used to knit quite a few socks at one point, and I just can't do it with 4-ply anymore. I just can't, fingering. I just can't do it with the needles. It's just so painful. So I think now I'm having to go up, but I do like this weight of yarn as a sock, so I'm happy with that. I just hope that it isn't a sign of what for socks.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't mind doing 4-ply for shawls and things like that, because you can get, a bigger needle and make it drape. But for socks, it's too tight for me, with me being such a tight knitter,
Oh, yeah. Well, it will be, won't it?
Yeah. But anyway, so why are we here today, Annie? What was the reason? Remind me.
How long have we been talking?
About an hour already, haven't we? No, I don't think it's that long. We're going to talk about issue 15, which, if you're looking at the screen, issue 15 cover is in the bottom right-hand corner, just below Annie there. So you can't see all of the covers there, but I've done a backdrop that has the first 15 covers on it. So really good. We're covering up the middle ones. And Annie's on the wall here now. I've got you on the wall along with Anne and Tabitha. I don't think you can see Tabitha, though. She's there. It looks like Anne's trying to shoot you.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, someone said, what was that heel? Yeah, it was a Flegel heel. But it was a toe-up Flegel heel. And it's my favorite heel because it's one I can do without having to look it up. It's so easy, you just remember it, and it always fits. You don't have to worry. When I've done heel flap and gusset, if you don't get it absolutely spot on, I find that you're always kind of trying to readjust your sock on your foot. It doesn't quite go over your heel, or there's too much. Whereas with the Flegel, it always fits because it doesn't have a full, like a heel cup. Is that the word for it? It doesn't have one of those. It just turns, and you've got this sort of triangle shape.
I do just whatever the pattern says because I don't knit them very often, because I don't really enjoy knitting them.
It's funny, isn't it? Because some people love knitting socks.
Yeah.
And I've really enjoyed knitting this one, but I think it's because I haven't knitted for so long now. So do you literally change it every time? The pattern for a sock?
I just go off a vanilla sock.
Right.
Yeah. It just works.
Yeah, because I just do the same one every time whenever I do a sock now. Texas Sheep Lady says Flegel ? Well, shall I show it again? It's hard. I can't really explain very well, but it's. Is
it Flegel?
Yeah. So it's like a triangle on the back. So this is side on. So it doesn't have that kind of cup thing there, if you know what I mean. So, So this is the foot.
I've heard of the Flegel. Why is it called Flegel?
I don't know.
Isn't Flegel when you're going in the round and you slip a few stitches? I thought that was Flegeling.
I don't know. Not sure.
Well, there must be a different word for that.
Unless, I mean, I could have got it wrong. I call it the Flegel, so I don't know. I have no idea. Now I'm confused.
Sorry.
But yeah. So the reason why Annie's on this particular episode is because we're getting too many questions coming in. Short rows. Yes, there are short rows, but they're not like a short row heel. It's where you do a heel turn on a heel flap and gusset. It's that kind of short row. Kind of. It's really, really simple. No, it's not like an afterthought heel. You do it as you go along. You can do it top down or you can do it toe up. You can do both ways. That's another reason why I like it so much. And Liz says, does Annie mean helix knitting in the round?
Oh, that's it, yeah. I haven't done either.
Nituational says, I think Flegel is the online name of the lady that first maybe came up with the heel and put, okay. Mrs. Flegel. Yeah, it sounds about right, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But look it up if you've never seen it. Look it up. It's a very easy. The only thing that I'd say that some people might not like is the angle between the foot and the leg isn't as pronounced. So it's less of an L shape and more of a boomerang shape. But it still fits really well, for me anyway. Somebody else is with me on this. My favourite heel to knit. Yay, we should start a Flegel club.
I'll have a look if I ever do any more.
It's so easy. And it is easy to remember as well. You don't have to look it up. But anyway, right, back to the magazine. So you were our model, weren't you, for the cover of issue 15?
I was.
And not only that, you actually knitted the garment on the front, which is behind you. Now, it feels a bit weird because it's literally been all either of us have been talking about for about a year, isn't it? It's been on your channel quite a few times. It's been in the magazine quite a few times.
Yeah.
So I don't think we need to go. Well, do we need to go through the whole story again? I don't know. No, actually, because it's in the magazine. You can read the story in the magazine, can't they?
Yeah, my side's not in the magazine though, is it? Because I saw it at first, and then I liked it at first, and then I never knitted it, and then I kept looking, and I kept thinking, why has nobody knitted this shawl? Because it's pretty cool, and nobody had knitted it, and I didn't really grasp that Tabitha had started it, and then eventually I did, and she said she wasn't doing it, and then it came up in conversation a couple of times on the different lives, and well, I just got to a point where I was looking for something to do, and I just had a look at it, and that was it. But it's because I enjoyed it that I finished it.
Well, it's amazing because you did the biggest side. So to cut the story down,
I did have my eye on it for a while.
Yeah, the pattern was correct, except for the stitch count. I'd made a mistake when I wrote it out, and I wrote the stitch count wrong. So I added 100 stitches to the stitch count, which seems like a lot to get wrong. But I realised what I'd done. It's because I'd put markers along, as I was counting how many stitches there were. And instead of counting that group as 50, I counted it as 100 twice. So that was the mistake. So when
twice as big as it was as you thought.
Yeah. So it should have been 180 stitches, and it ended up being written down as 280 stitches, even though the thing I knitted was only 180. Because I wrote it, I just didn't see that. I just, when you just, because it's the first thing you do, isn't it? Your stitch count.
And I kept saying, it's really big.
And I was so busy looking at all the short rows and making sure they were right.
Sense, did it? No.
Yeah. So I never noticed.
I think I'll do a bigger pattern for it. And I said, don't you mean smaller?
I knew one of them.
Everybody's seen it, haven't they?
I think they have, haven't they?
There's all them pictures of it anyway.
Yeah, well, we're going to show it anyway, aren't we?
Yeah.
So shall we? So let's dive in. So this is you on the cover. I have to say, this is my favorite cover. Not one of it is my favorite cover. I just think it was. Well, your daughter did all the photos, didn't she? I mean, I actually came over to Hartlepool when you were doing the photos because I just thought it'd be fun to be there as well. I mean, I might have put pressure on her. I don't know. She might be thinking, oh, God, he's here now. But
she was a little bit nervous at first. And
was she? Oh.
Yeah, I don't know why, because she was taking pictures of me. But she said I was a good model.
Oh, you were.
Because I kept moving around. I didn't just stand still. I just was.
I tell you, people, if you need anything modelling, ask Annie, because it was what I loved about it was something I don't have, and I know other people. You have no. What's the word? Is it ego? When people are so egotistical, they don't want to do anything silly or take a bad photo. You're not like that at all. You were literally skipping up and down the beach and doing mad things. And then that meant that the photos had all this kind of movement in them. And, it wasn't like just stood there with the garment on. You know what I mean? There was something about it. It was so well done.
Well, you don't want lots of photos of the same thing, do you, in the same way? So
yeah, and you really did mix it up.
The wind was good.
Oh yeah, it was the perfect day for it because it was a really bright, sunny day as well.
Yeah,
and everything about the photos and everything just worked so well. And you had your definition of woman on. You had that T-shirt on as well. So
deeply offensive, that T-shirt,
Well, nobody has commented. It's quite interesting. Yeah, I thought they would zone in on that and really, unless they've just not noticed it. Maybe they didn't read the T-shirt. But I don't know.
Hard to find it offensive as far as I'm concerned.
Well, people are weird, aren't they? Really weird.
Yeah.
Right, inside. So this is another reason why this has been my favorite issue so far as well, is because I'm not dissing anybody else here, by the way, anyone who submitted patterns, because I know people are better at different things with photographing and stuff. But because we had so many photos, I was able to, get Becky to get BS Studios to play around with things as well. So we had this is one of the photos that Emily took, isn't it, here? And it's just so brilliant. I'm thinking of getting. There's like about 5 or 6 of these where they kind of look like mountains and look a bit like
fields
and I think they would look brilliant as a set of canvases on the wall. Maybe 3 of them, and I am thinking about getting them done because I'd love them on the wall. I think they look, and the colours are just so great. So your shawl is the one at the back, and my shawl, the original, is the one at the front there. So obviously yours looks better.
Which I also tried on, which is lovely. I love the colours. It's all about colours today with everything.
Yeah. Well, who knitted one? Yarn, Chicken and Shit. She knitted one and she did it in opal minis, and hers looks almost identical to the original, which is quite cool. Oh, and also just to show people just how far it was to travel over to see Annie. On the other page, you can see the map there. You can see that. Oh, I mean, that journey. It was just. We had to sleep over. No, it was about 2.5 hours. Was it? I can't.
Wasn't it 3.5 to get back?
Oh, coming back, yeah. There was I can't remember why. I think was there traffic. I think there might have been an accident. But yeah, it did take a lot longer to get back home. Yeah. Oh, there's your dogs there as well. So that's don't tell me, Lottie and Roxy.
Yes.
Because they were brilliant models as well. They were hilarious. Okay, so the first article is by Joe Bob, and Joe Bob does our pattern reviews. So she knits what she wants to knit, and then will tell us how well it went and shows us the picture at the end. And they're pretty good, her reviews, actually. And I'm not sure whether we'll have one this issue or not, because I know she's been really busy.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping we get one, but if we don't, I'm sure there'll be one later, in the next issue. And this particular pattern was the Ziggy Shawl by Hohi Locatelli. And did you see her on Fruity Knitting, in the Fruity Knitting episode? I think it was only recently.
Yes, I did.
And
I'm not sure if I got to the end of it or not.
Well, actually, I didn't either. I don't find her as interesting as he used to be, but they are good, her videos generally. But yeah, she kept calling her Jorge or something, didn't she? She kind of was doing the Jorge thing. Yeah, Jorge, so yes. I don't know whether that's how you say her name or not. I don't know.
I can imagine her practicing it quite a lot beforehand.
Oh yeah, she'd have to make sure it was right, wouldn't she? Everything has to be just so, doesn't it? Yeah. Elegant. And then we had Shark Week, which I failed abysmally. I have to hold my hands up. What was going? I had this yarn, which I'm not going to say too much about at the moment because it's going to be in the next issue, and I'm going to be writing about it because there's a whole saga involved. But I had this yarn that just wasn't working when I was trying to knit it, and I was in the middle of my knitting slump where I just wasn't enjoying knitting at all, and I kept ripping this yarn out, and it wasn't the knitting that was causing it, but when I ripped it out, I was getting like I could feel fluff, I couldn't breathe properly. Not dramatic, I'm not saying I was dying, but
no,
well, you know what I mean. I could feel it.
That's not good at all, is it?
But knitting, it was okay. It was the ripping out of it that kind of, but you couldn't really see it. It's not like I could see it everywhere, but I could just feel it. And then it kind of I got a bit obsessed with it, thinking, oh my God, it's in my lungs. I'm going to die.
What kind? Not what make. What sort of kind of wool?
Okay, well, I'll say that it was dog wool.
Oh, right, yeah.
So there's, I'll be going into a lot of detail about it in the next issue, which won't be out. When will it be out? The deadline is the 15th, so it should be out, hopefully, fingers crossed, by the last day of August or the first day of September, whichever. So you'll find out all about it there because it's it was very interesting for me. Other people might find it boring as hell. I don't know, but I think it is interesting.
Yeah, you don't have allergies, do you?
Only hay fever. But I do remember years ago when I was about 7, because they didn't know that it was hay fever. And I also had asthma at the time. I don't have asthma now. Don't ask me why. I have no idea. I think you just grow out of that sometimes. And I had to have one of those tests, a prick test, on your arm.
Yeah.
And dog fur was one of the things, but I've never known myself have a problem with a dog ever.
Yeah, because you mind someone's dog, don't you?
Yeah, and I didn't have a problem with your dog, so I don't know. On that,
mine are a little bit. Mine don't shed.
Maybe, and the dog that I look after is a bulldog, isn't he? So maybe, and their fur is slightly different. Although I tell you what, I did notice the last time I was with the dog, he licked my arm, and after it went bright red and it was itching like crazy.
Yeah,
So I think there is something, but it would never stop me going near dogs because I love dogs too much to keep away. So maybe that's what it is. Maybe I have got a bit of an allergy to it, which isn't great.
Probably.
Yeah. Anyway, so my Shark Week thing was a complete disaster. So in the end, I ripped the whole thing out, and I just sent a message to Anne and said, look, I've not even done it. I didn't film ripping out, which is kind of like the deal. If you lose and you film the ripping out, you get entered for the competition. But because I didn't even do that, I thought, well, it's not fair to put myself in, really. Somebody's mentioned here. Where is it? Why Neil doesn't have dog. It's Samoyed. It is. I don't know how you say it, but the wool that I got is Samoyed.
All right, Samoyed.
Yeah, and it is lovely. When it's in fact, well, I can show you a bit of it here. This is in the end. I knitted it up on my Addy knitting machine because I just didn't want to risk knitting it.
It looks really nice.
Oh, it's lovely. It's so soft.
Yeah, it looks really nice.
It didn't. The tension isn't great on it because I think it's hand spun as well.
I'm going to have a go with Roxy because when I comb her and brush her, like she doesn't shed around the house, but when I comb her and brush her, I get a comb and brush full. I have a comb in one hand and a brush in the other hand, a slicker brush, and it's always full, and it's kind of the soft hair, the soft under hair that comes out.
Yeah, you should do it because it's free yarn, isn't it?
Yeah. I could just brush her every time I needed a bit more.
What I did notice about it, the thing I noticed though, but I don't know, most men are soft when it comes to wool, aren't we? You know what I mean? It was a bit prickly. We're like, women don't tend to be the same as that. They tend to be a bit hardier. But it's really soft to wear, but it does have a prickle, but it's not a prickly yarn. I can't explain it. It's like every now and again, you kind of get that feeling with it, but it's not, when you put it to his face, it's not. Oh, and it doesn't smell bad. You'd think that it would smell of dog. It's just a very strong sheepy smell. It sort of smells of sheep.
That's weird, isn't it?
Just a bit stronger. Although there is a bit of Corriedale in this. I think it's 10% Corriedale, so it could be from that. I think it has to have do they call it a carrier? A carrier yarn, I think.
Yeah.
I think.
I'm learning. I'm still learning about things like that.
Oh, I'm just guessing. I just saw that on something of, pretending to be clever.
So I was chief spinner on our stall the weekend. I was the only one from the Durham Spinners, Weavers and Dyers that was sitting spinning. And I've not been spinning for very long.
You look like you knew what you were doing, though, on that video.
I know, well, people were encouraged because I haven't been doing it very long, but I was managing to spin something that was working. Yeah, it's quite fine. It's nice. Spinning.
Mrs. Emmy Marple said some of the guard hairs got in. I think I need to have a chat with you before I'll have to. If you're on, are you on Telegram? If you are, could you message me and I just want to have a quick chat with you before I publish the article in the next issue, because I think your experience with it might be, I might need that as I don't know. I could do with you reading what I've written really to see, because there's probably a few things that aren't quite right in what I've put. It was interesting doing it. But anyway, so that's my story about Shark Week. And for the people that are saying you need to go on Knit Night and rip it out, no, I was taken out. I dropped out of the competition completely. So just so I didn't, well, it was already ripped out. And what I've made here, I did after. Is what, sorry?
No stickers.
Yeah, no stickers for me. Yeah. Oh well. No, I think I'll get the stickers anyway because I'm one of the sponsors that paid for them, or that will be paying for them. So, so I'm cheating. Okay, so that was Shark Week, and I hope everyone joined in because it is always good fun.
Yeah, I was too busy with other things, but I did make a baby cardigan and I did finish it. But
you did your ranunculus last year, didn't you? That was brilliant to be able to finish that.
Yeah, well, I know they're quite straightforward, easy, and I had made it before.
Yeah. And then here is the politically incorrect cross-stitch patterns. So I think DK said that she was skipping through the magazine with her daughter, and I don't think she realised that this was her. And her daughter, I think she said her daughter recognised that it was her. But I think they saw the black and white one first, the bit on the right-hand side, which doesn't look as clear when you look at it. But what it is, what I'm doing with these, it's just a bit of fun. And I'm just putting a few of the prominent YouTubers on there just to see what people, whether they like them or not. Because I think people would do them, because I think they're quite cool in a way. You know what I mean? I would.
Yeah, I really like them.
Yeah,
I'm amazed how they look so much like the individuals with so few squares.
Yeah, because they're quite small, aren't they? Because the overall piece is only is less than 4 inches by 3 inches. So what's that? It's only it's only a little.
I would
square.
like to do them all, actually. Really, I would like to have them all.
Yeah, well, I hope somebody does, because obviously the thing about these is that they're not tested, these patterns. But for a cross stitch pattern, you don't really need to test them. As long as everything's there in the pattern, it should be fine.
And then Anne had a haircut.
Oh, I know. Oh, that's... Well, I did have this. I thought to myself, well, I could go in. I could go in and cut it, not cut it, but you know what I mean, take it off. But then I thought, well, she's known for having long hair. You know what I mean? She's had long hair for all the 3 years I've known her, so she can have long hair, because I'm sure it'll end up growing again, won't it? And it wouldn't be difficult if you were sewing it if you wanted to make her hair shorter.
I'm unpicking while we're talking. Am I rude or what?
Oh no, it's fine. It's fine.
I'm wondering if it's going to fit me. Not yet. There's a load at the back as well. I've just had a look inside. I must have been tiny.
Get a girdle. Now this is the saga of the Ugly Cat shawl from start to finish, and including the dramas that came later with the yarn. So I called it The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly Cat shawl, because there was good bits to the story and there was some bad bits to the story, and obviously the Ugly Cats was the original insult, which I put here. And what I had was say that again.
All your cats are ugly.
Yeah, they are.
All of them.
I'm looking at one now. Yeah. But when I got the yarn, when I did the Tunisian version of it, the Tunisian crochet version, the yarn I used was the Lola Bean yarn, because somebody had sent me the yarn because she didn't want to have it in her house anymore. So I had a set of the Wakanda set, I think it was. So I thought, well, I'll use it for that, because when I was making the Tunisian version, I didn't know whether it was going to work at the time. And I thought, well, I don't mind, ruining this yarn. You know what I mean? I don't mind making a real mess of it. So I did it. And when I was using the yarn, I realized there was resist marks in the dye. Really bad dye job. It's one of the worst I've seen, actually. And also the black bits of the yarn, I think, were a bit felted, I think. So I wrote about that as well, because I thought, well, everybody always goes on about what a fantastic yarn dyer she is, but she isn't. I'm not being nasty. She isn't. But,
well, that's obvious, isn't it?
Yeah. And you've got the shawl now, because I gave Annie the shawl sort of.
Yes, it's lovely. I like the drape of the Tunisian crochet. It drapes nicely.
It's worked well, doesn't it?
But different feel than the knitted one.
Yeah, and it. Well, there you can see Annie wearing it there on the right-hand side next to and the dog, and Lottie wearing it. Well, one of the things about it was when I blocked it, the yarn bled as well into the undyed yarn, because this sort of cream is the undyed bit. So I was kind of a bit annoyed about that as well, because it's like, well, that shouldn't happen, and I've never had that. I mean, I know it can happen, but I've never had that happen before.
No, I think with red it is a thing, but some of the other colours are bled as well, haven't they?
Yeah, I think the purple did. All of the really saturated colours, I think, were the ones that bled. I think the sort of purpley blue colour bled as well, which is a shame, because what I liked about those skeins, I really liked the purple and the red. When they were in I thought, yeah, they're really deep and saturated. But you'd also see in the pictures as well where it was patchy. but it wasn't intended to be patchy. That's the thing.
No.
If it's intended to be patchy, that's great, isn't it? But
yeah.
That picture there as well of you, I mean, that's cropped, but that was almost the cover because I loved that picture so much. I just thought it was so good. But it's cropped there, isn't it? You can't really see.
Yeah.
And then we did an interview, didn't we? So this is the interview with Annie, and there she is with the Tunisian version of the shawl
on the video.
Yeah, that's from your video, isn't it? Yeah,
yeah, it looks like it.
Yeah, I think I took a screenshot of your video. Oh, I didn't even ask your permission. don't sue me. What did we talk about? Well, I'm not going to say because you can read it, can't you? People can go away and read it.
Yeah.
Well, this is a new thing that I'm doing now as well, is that I'm going to try and have one of these written interviews in every issue. So there is another one coming up in the next issue, which just need to finish off. So if any of those people are watching, remember, I still need a couple of questions answered, please. Brilliant. That photo. Fantastic. Absolutely brilliant. This is what I want more of in the magazine. I want to be able to have what would be full page, pictures. So if anybody submits, a pattern, please take as many photos as you possibly can, and doing all sorts of weird things, and don't crop them, because what happens is we tend to struggle because people will crop the photo to make it look really good, but then we can't do anything with it sometimes. So I've had photos in the past that are fantastic, but I can't use them as a cover because there's nowhere to put the logo.
You need space around it to put some.
Yeah, and it's partly awkward because of the way the logo is on the magazine, because the logo is, vertical rather than horizontal. I don't think people realize that I need space on either side, to put them in. But it was perfect having Emily doing these photos because we had so how many did we have? Was it 120 in the end? Photos?
I don't know, but I think she took a lot more than she just did a big selection from them. But it was a superhero issue as well, wasn't it? Which is why I've got a mascot on that picture up there. That little picture.
I forgot to say what the theme was. The theme was heroes, wasn't it?
Heroes, that was it.
Yeah, so should explain why you're wearing
why I was stood like that.
Yeah, that's how she walks the dogs, everybody. She wears a mask so nobody knows it's her. Yeah, this is Hartlepool Beach, which is a lovely beach. I mean, it's not like
it's one of
it's not like Mexico, is it? But yeah, and what was great, it was empty, wasn't it? There was hardly anybody there.
Yeah, I have it to myself a lot of the time.
Is that because you're a bit south of or north? Don't want to say where you live, but is that because you're not quite on that Hartlepool bit?
There's many people live around by this beach, but they just don't go on it. Even people with dogs. There's quite a lot of people just walk along the prom every day. It's just like it's so much different when you get down by the sea than it is on the prom.
Yeah.
You get down, I mean, there's traffic on the prom. If you get down onto the beach, you're away from the sound of the traffic and you're in a world of your own. But yeah, I do pans on my Instagram nearly every day. I do a pan round of the beach, and you can. It's about 3 miles long, this beach, and you can see that there's nobody else on it. Be the odd dog walker, and mostly I'll know if it's a dog walker. I'll know them anyway, But
I think it's because they're all scared of you. Say, oh, there she is, that mad woman with the 2 dogs. Keep away from her.
My dogs are funny. One's scared of everybody, and well, she's not scared. They're not scared of people. Lottie, the grey one, she's scared of other dogs, and Roxy's like Roxy from the Bronx, and so she's pretty streetwise, and she's kind of friendly enough. But if a dog has a go, she'll have a go back. Right. So I don't have to really worry about them too much at all.
Lottie was so friendly. When I was sat on your settee, and she was immediately next to me.
Yeah,
and it was like it's so nice having that when I'm used to having cats. When cats are so aloof and they're like, they look at you like you. So, but the dog's dragged in.
Yeah, she's a fuss pot. Roxy can't really get on your knee. Her legs get in the way. She's too gangly and she's a bit clumsy, really.
Yeah, so that's Lottie there, isn't
Lottie,
it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And again, great photos. So, yeah, because did you just because I was there, but I was kind of stood back. and you were off in the distance where you're doing the photos. But did Emily tell you, oh, go run down the beach, or did you just do it?
I just did it. But she did, as we got into it, she did say sort of like, look up, don't look so far up, look down a bit, sort of thing. So she did sort of, as we got into it, she did come up with some ideas, because it was new to me and it was new to her.
Yeah, because I didn't say, oh, this is what I want. I didn't want to interfere, really.
No,
I think,
but it was, it's such a big shawl that it needed to be sort of waved around and shown off, didn't it? Yeah. We
just needed a bull, because then it would have been like a bullfight, wouldn't it?
And that's Lottie's got her shark outfit on there, hasn't she?
Oh, yeah. Oh, they both had them on, didn't they?
Yeah, but the fin's gone.
The fin, yeah. Yeah, because that was to fit in with Shark Week as well, wasn't it? So we tried to get that link in. So I should get an entry just for having these photos in the magazine.
Yeah, and you have promoted it.
She won't have that, I don't think. Annie won't agree to that.
Perfect beach, no people.
Oh, who said that? Let me put it on.
Trace.
Yeah.
It is. I like that nobody's down there. People are going to work and stuff when I go down there. There's only like the retired people going up and down the prom, and they have dog biscuits in the pockets.
Yeah, you're right when you say that it was completely different, because I remember noticing that it is a completely different experience when you're on the beach near the sea, isn't it? There's something, because it's quite a deep. It's not like Southport. For those that don't know, we have a beach called Southport, and there's no sea.
There's no sea.
So yeah, the beach goes on for miles and miles and miles, but there's no sea. But then all of a sudden you drown because it comes right in really fast. Yeah, so it's quite a dangerous one, isn't it? Because isn't that? Go on.
I'm very familiar with ours because I'm on the beach nearly every day. Well, every day if the tide's out. So I'm familiar with it, and it isn't particularly dangerous. And you
see a lot of like dead things, though, don't you? Like dead seals and things, don't you? That wash up.
There's a seal situation at the moment. There's one particular place that smells pretty bad. Ooh. And I did see the seal on the beach, and I thought it had been removed, but it seems that the rough seas washed it up into the rocks.
Right. Does nobody ever move them?
I think they would, if it was just, probably if it was down where families go. Yeah, they would. The council would come in and take it away with a digger.
Well, do you know, did you see this is years ago, but did you see the whale that exploded in the center of, was it Japan? There was a massive beached whale, huge, and they had to put it on the back of a truck. There's footage of it on the internet if you look. Now, I think it was.
I don't think I'd bother.
The problem was what they should have done was pierced it to let the gases out. And as it was going through the center of the city, it exploded and it covered everybody in rancid whale.
Oh, this is why we're on live, so you can tell us things like this.
Yeah, I'll probably get arrested for telling you this. And apparently it took them so long to clean because it was all over all the buildings, windows, everywhere. Like really, you can imagine the smell. It must have been awful.
I don't need to imagine the smell. I know what it'll smell like. A bit like our local seal.
Oh, poor seal. Poor seal. Here's a reminder. Issue 18, which is nearest to Christmas. I've messed up with the dates this year. I've realised this because the Christmas issue is probably going to be out on New Year. So the deadline is December the 15th. So it's not going to be out in time for Christmas. So I don't know what, we might not have any Christmassy things in it at all. Don't know yet. I need to sort that out for next year, I think. Or we could.
New Year's good though, isn't it? After all the celebrations and everything, New Year's a good time for it to come out.
Yeah, but I'm just thinking, sometimes we have. Last year, did we do it last year? I'm trying to think how long we've been going now. It's the third year, isn't it? So it'll be the third Christmas. We always have some Christmassy patterns, you see. So I might have to put them in issue 17, maybe, which is but that's the fall issue. But I don't know. We'll see. I don't know what we'll do there. So if you have any ideas, anybody out there, for Cold Heart submissions, let us know. Oh, and before that, the next issue is Dog Days. So the deadline is August the 15th. So we've got a few days left out. What date is it today?
3 days we've got. It's the 12th.
Yeah, so get submitting stuff.
I have to take a picture of my dogs, even though you've already got loads.
Oh, well, I'm going to have to submit your pictures into because we're doing a competition for dogs. What have we called it? I forgot. Woofers in woolies or woolly woofers. I forgot what we called it now. So if you've got a picture of your dog in something that you've knitted or crocheted, it doesn't have to be knitted, send it in, but it has to be in before is it fair? Oh, brilliant. But it has to be in by the 15th. And you may win a prize, might win a prize. Teresa says, bad Santa. Yeah. I know.
Yeah,
Evil
I was going to put a couple of cardies on mine and take a picture of them with a cardie on.
Well, we've got the pictures from the shawls. So...
I was going to ask, but isn't that cheating a bit, really?
I don't know. What do people think? Should we allow Annie to use the shawl pictures, or does she have to put sweaters on the dogs?
Have you got some that haven't been in the magazine? Yeah.
Have I? Well, actually, do you know what? I'm just thinking that they're gonna be in the next magazine because of the Tunisian shawl, because that goes in the next issue.
Yeah,
so they will be in. So it might be better if you can get them in something else, just to because yeah. Anyway, so this is the book review. So we've I don't know how long we've kind of moved over from knitting pattern books and technique books to fiction. Now, I have to admit, I have got no interest in reading knitting fiction whatsoever. I'm sure it's fantastic, but it's just not my thing at all. So Katie has been reading lots and lots of the fiction. And apparently, if you like that genre, it's really good. I don't know. I can't really comment.
I bought one.
Sorry, go on.
Joe Bob was on about this one.
Oh, let me make you bigger. Hold on.
It's the Beach Street Knitting Society and Yarn Club. So I bought that one off eBay. But I haven't got very far.
It's quite a big book, isn't it? Well, so is it? How much knitting is in it? And like, how do they include the knitting, or is it just set around?
I don't know, because I haven't read it, but I've read them in the past. And the one I read before, I can't remember the name of it, and it's a few years ago, and it was more about the characters and the people at the knitting group and different things that had happened. And quite similar to my knitting group that's been going since it was about 18 years.
Oh, wow.
The knitting group.
You should write about it.
And it's parallel to the book that I read, more or less, because, someone got cancer and other things, and it's all part of the drama, isn't it? If you meet up once a week.
Yeah, you get snippets of the life, don't you?
Yeah. And you see each other through the years. I mean, Helen, who I see a lot of now, she was doing something else for about 9 years. I didn't see her for about 9 years at the knitting group, and now she's come back to it, and I see her more than ever now. Yeah, it's funny. So some people have come and gone. A lot of people have come and gone, and there's just a handful of us now. But yeah, we talk about everything, and it's a bit. I think the books are a bit like that. About the things
I'd like to. I'm not going to do it, by the way, so in case people start saying, when's your book out? But I'd like to write a fictional book based on all of the knitting shit that's gone on.
Yeah.
Changing names and so on.
She's in the someone's in the chat. Yeah, ice skating.
Oh, is this one of your
Helen.
friends?
Yeah.
Ah, hello, Helen. We know all about you.
Helen is Mickey Mouse.
Yeah, what was Helen working on recently?
Her time clashed with the knitting group, and it was ice skating instead for about 9 years, I think it was. Yeah. Helen, am I on my YouTube too?
Yeah, we're trying to do streaming in two places, aren't we? So I don't know whether it's working.
Especially now I've got newfangled equipment.
Well, on my screen here in the top corner, it's got an A, which I presume means Annie or a stitch in the sky. And it's got a little play button next to it. So I'm assuming that means that we're live on yours as well. So we'll see.
I couldn't see anything, so it doesn't matter, does it?
Well, hi, Helen. And maybe you should come on one of the shows. You should get on with Annie. And because everybody knows who you are. Sounds like you've been saying bad things, but yeah, I know you are. She's confirming, yeah, it's your channel. She's on your channel.
Good. That's good,
yeah. And if you look on the people in the comments, if it's got a little weird symbol in the top right hand corner, that's your channel. So Mrs. Emmy Marple is on your channel as well. Sneaky Mouse is on your channel.
I see.
Yeah, Wise Owl is on your channel. So, hi Cheryl. By the way, that's Cheryl, isn't it? Cheryl B. Cheryl, why are you on her channel and not mine? We're going to be fighting for viewers now.
I don't think so. You're not on enough.
Yeah, well, that's true. Yeah.
It's special you're on.
Go on. Well, I've had a bit of an idea actually for going forward because I think I've kind of the format. Not these. I'm still going to do the reviews of the magazines, but I think I'm going to start doing much shorter videos that I'm going to do on my own. And I've just got because I have got quite a few ideas of what I would like to have in these videos, and I think they'll be quite interesting because I don't think anybody else has done this particular idea. I'm not going to say what it is now in case somebody
right. Well, that's what you need, isn't it? A USP.
Yeah,
a unique selling point.
But it will still be on this channel. And I'll probably still do interviews every now and again and have guests on and stuff. But I like the idea because one of the things I've noticed is that people don't like the 3-hour videos because sometimes there are videos, not hours, but sometimes these videos go on for 3 hours. How long have we been on now? I can't even see how long we've been on, but I bet it's 2 hours.
1 hour and 12.
Is that 12, I think. 1 hour? Oh, that's not too bad, is it? Because normally it's like getting on for 5. No, and I think people do prefer smaller.
But I've got a massive screen.
Oh yeah, Annie's in the 21st century now. Everyone, she's got the technology.
Yeah, mine's blown.
So Yanni Fiction. So read all about it here, and it's she does really good reviews because what's really tricky is being able to talk about a book that's fiction without giving any plots away. So she does put and I'm still the next dissident that I do won't be in the next issue. It's going to be in issue 17. And I think I've told you so we can catch up with the numbers because I've got completely confused with which goes with which issue. So what I've done for this, what I did for this issue, I might put it in the next issue as well. I'm not sure. It's just the blank chart. And I think this is the thing that craft snarker said. Did you see it where they said, have you seen his latest pattern? It's a cowl that you knit in white and then colour in with markers.
Oh, yeah. Well, I saw that you'd said that. I don't.
Like, where is that? You know,
I don't go and look at craft snark very often.
Cheryl said she doesn't even know. It just popped up. Where was it? Yeah,
what,
I didn't even know. It just popped up.
You didn't answer my question about which was the naughtiest, rudest.
Oh yes, I've just realised. I meant to double check before we went live so I could tell you. Well, I can't remember. Yeah,
unless anybody else knows. I want to make a naughty one.
Yeah, it has 18, a big 18 in the corner of the pattern, so it's got a warning on. But I think,
right.
So, but I can't remember which issue it is. I don't know whether it's something like issue 12 or not, because I think it's one of the issues where I did 2 patterns. So I think I did one that was okay and one that was a bit naughty. But I want to do. I know people will be like, "What?" I do want to do a few more. Rude ones because I do think they're funny, and I know it's childish.
Yeah, well, it's a good way of doing it, isn't it? Because you don't have to put any pictures in your magazine or anything because it's a big secret and you don't get it until you did it. I think it's
I never show the dissidents anyway. Other people show them on on YouTube and not YouTube, on Instagram and stuff, but I don't show them afterwards. At some point, I need to show them all, you know, however many there are at that point.
Yeah.
I don't know when.
Right.
I think I know Cezzy. Cezzy's watching. Yeah, she's there. Yeah, I think Cezzy. I don't know if she's done them all, but I know she was trying to keep up with them, and she was going to make a blanket out of them all. So hopefully, if she does, I might be able to just get a picture of Cezzy's blanket and then put that in, because I think that'd look quite cool.
So do you design them? Or do other people?
Usually I do. In the last issue that we had, in the issue with Annie, not Annie, Anne, Anne Pinkover. There's I've done a one, and then there was a guest one, if you like. Somebody submitted one. So please, if you've got an idea to do one of these dissidents, please do it and send it in. And if you could do it on this, you know, you can hand draw it and take a photo as clear as you can, and I'll actually chart it all out and get the written instructions for it if you don't want to do that. But if you've got Stitch Fiddle, the written instructions is pretty easy to do anyway, because it kind of does it for you. Says, yeah, I've done all of them except the spider. There's a spider. Don't tell anyone. Still working on that one. Yeah, that is a really, really hard one. It's a tricky one, that one. Therese says, I'm behind on them, but they are great palette cleansers in between. Yeah, because they're quick, aren't they? And, you know, and also I do think there's something in the fact that you don't know what you're knitting. I do think there's something quite fun about that.
Yeah, I do. I've just not made one yet.
They're usually only one colour. Usually it's just knit and pearls. I might start doing some with colouring as well, but I've just got to figure out how I'm going to write it, because there can't be any charts. You know what I mean? When you see it, it has to be written down. I mean, I'm sure there's a way of doing it, but I just want to get that right. So I could do some colour work ones. And Therese wants one that says fight. Well, yes. I'm going to tell you now, but I don't think I'm going to be able to do it. But I did start doing a cross stitch pattern of Donald Trump, the picture, with the flag behind it. And it's just too difficult for me at this stage to pull it off. So I can't do it, because I was going to have that and have fight written on it. But yeah, I might do that. That might, but I might just throw it in when you might least expect it. And says he said, I didn't say what issue it was from. That was the spider one, yeah. So so fight is popular. Okay. Well, if either of you are bored and you fancy designing that, feel free, and we'll put it in. Okay. Oh, I've changed on the next page here. This is the YouTube channel. I'm trying to figure out a better way of advertising it, but I don't know. I'd like to have, and I know it's possible, but I don't know how you do it. You can embed the actual video. So, for example, this episode that we've got now, it could be in the next magazine, like with a thing where you just play it and it'll be there. And I'd like to do a bit more of that, because I think people, and then say, for instance, like with you, the interview now, I could have your latest video next to it, so it gets more viewers to see that as well. So if I can ever figure that out, that's hopefully what I'll have next in there. We've got the podcast list now. What I've decided to do with that is literally I only advertise if people request it. Because there has been a couple of things where, people have been targeted for various different, because of me, because of knowing me. And I just don't like the idea of that happening. So I'd rather it, people chose that, so that they can say, yeah, I don't mind that happening. So are you in there? I don't think do you want to be in there?
I'm not there, no. Yeah.
Well, we'll add you. I thought you were in there. I don't know why you're not there. Unless, do you know what it might have been? It might be because we did the interview.
Well, there's enough of me in there in this issue.
Yeah, I think we've got the link to. Yeah, we've got the link to you there. So that might
my little logo. Oh right, yeah.
Did we have your logo then?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because it was on. I can show you the logo, everyone. It was on here, wasn't it? It's the purple one there.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I'll sort that out for the next one. Sorry about that.
All right.
I wasn't dissing you.
No.
Aha!
Well, you weren't, were you?
Yeah, I think you might have been a bit overexposed this issue. Do you think? I shouldn't feel too bad. I had a lot of fun doing this one. This was so funny.
Was it? Why?
Yeah, because it was because of the face. You know, it just made me laugh because what it reminded me of was like an old 70s cartoon. You know, a bit like a Crystal Tips type thing. The Americans probably won't know who that is, but there was a cartoon called Crystal Tips and Alistair, and it was this little girl who had big purple hair, wasn't it, or pink?
I would like hair like hers. Her hair was like that, wasn't it? It was like,
and she kind of didn't she have funny legs that kind of just didn't bend. So when she ran, it was just like, you know. But yeah, I got your face immediately. And I think that's what made me laugh because I didn't have to try hard. And the hardest bit was trying to figure out your windows, and I actually got them wrong.
You didn't.
Oh, no, have you got those two side windows like that?
Yes, it's right.
I thought you only had the one after.
I'm usually sat there with a window behind me, and now I've moved, so you can't see them tonight. But it's on my old videos, isn't it?
Right. Or even got Dolly Daydream in there.
It'll all be on my videos. Dolly Daydream, yeah.
And your wallpaper, I think I got that right.
Yeah, you did.
Well, these have been they're probably more fun for me to design than they are for other people to stitch them. I don't know whether people will...
it really made me laugh when I saw that.
So people like, so cute. Adorable. Public information broadcast character from the 70s. Yeah. So does Helen? Yeah, she'll remember, won't she? She'll remember Crystal Tips, will she?
Yeah.
Yeah. And he got over his love for half stitch. Well, it was the quarter stitches, wasn't it, Therese? The very first one that I designed, I asked Therese, knowing that she was a cross stitcher, I asked her to look through the pattern, and half of it was quarter stitches, because in my mind I was thinking, oh well, the quarter stitches mean you can get so much more detail in there, not realizing, because I have done cross stitch, but I've never done quarter stitches, so I never realized just how fiddly they are. So so the one that Therese was testing for me, like, I think it drove her insane. So now I try and avoid those quarter stitches wherever I can. Sometimes I have to put them in the eyes, otherwise I can't get a likeness. Helen, yeah, she's saying she is that old. Yeah. But yeah, there are going to be more of these, by the way. So if you've got your own YouTube channel, be afraid, because you might be cross-stitched anytime soon. This was an article. So this was in the Heroes theme. So Amy, this was funny, because where was she going to go now? I can't remember. Therese probably will remember. She was going to travel somewhere to take photos of this particular museum, and it was really, really dangerous. I was a cross-stitch Hitler. Someone's defending the half stitches. Okay, I'll throw some more half stitches in just for you. I can't remember where she went now. And she had to say she couldn't go in the end because it was literally too dangerous. Where it is was like, she probably would have got shot or something. I can't remember. Here we go. Yeah, so, well, it was in was it in the center of New Orleans? Is that what the issue was? I can't remember what the problem was now. But anyway, she's written this article. It was all about, knitting your bit during the war and the war heroes and so on. I can't think what else was in it, but I love the fact she did all the links. I love to see that in an article, because it's like, yes, good article.
Yeah.
Then Mockingbird's Realm. I absolutely love her style. So she did the platypus and the seal and obviously sea lining. Yeah, so it's sea lining and platypusing. So I don't know whether anyone remembers all of that. So I got barred from Craftsnart because I was sea lining, which is I don't know what it means, but it was because I was asking it for evidence. So every accusation they made against me, I said evidence question mark, evidence question mark. So they said that was sea lining. And
They stopped saying that now, though, haven't they? Have they stopped using these words?
Oh, have they? Oh, maybe.
Well, I haven't heard them lately. It was a bit like a passing phase.
Well, platypussing was a made-up one that I made up. So I, you know, so you could just say if anyone's annoying you from that side of the knitting world, just say, "Don't platypus me." You know, or you're just platypussing now, because you can guarantee they won't know what it is, and then they'll have to go and try and find out. You know, they'll be a bit like, "What does that mean?" And I absolutely love these kitchen things and garden things, because it's what I like about it is it's something I never would have thought of. And in the last issue prior, what did she have in the issue prior to that? It was the guns. It was the water guns. I don't know if you remember them. And I just love that. What's the word? Is it aesthetic? I love her aesthetic, her design.
Yeah.
So I'm really hoping that she's going to do one for the next issue. I don't know, because I know I forgot now, but I did have a chat with her, and I know she's got something on, I think. So hopefully. Here we go. Cezanne is... Sorry, I've said your name wrong, haven't I? I keep pronouncing it wrong. Ceze, I'll say Ceze. They'll ask Urban Dictionary what platypussing is and get something completely weird and probably sexual. That means she's looked. You know what it means, don't you? I don't, but you probably do. Oh, bless you. And then this is my... I think this has been the least favorite article in the whole thing, but this has been my favorite one because it's my what's the word? It's when I get drunk and bore people to death. That I tell people. But I claim that Manchester and Lancashire won the American Civil War. Ooh, controversial. And basically, it's what the contribution of my ancestors were to ending slavery and to helping Lincoln win the Civil War. And I think it's a fascinating story. And there's so many levels to it. I mean, the amount of research I did for this was unbelievable. And I couldn't use even a fraction of it because there was just too much. It would have ended up being a book. So I had to cut a lot of it out.
It's people power, isn't it?
Yeah, and it kind of is, in a way, it sort of reminded me about what's going on at the moment around the country, you know, with the riots and the protests, because there was a bit of that kind of feeling in this, because whatever our government says, and I've got to be careful what I say before we get arrested, I don't agree with the riots, the actual rioting, but there's always, in a protest, there's always a criminal element that are there just for whatever reason. In every kind of protest, there's always someone, even if it's a counter protest, you know, because you've seen it when you've done the Let Women Speak stuff. There'll be a counter protest, won't they? And they're usually violent, and they're always trying to goad people into having a fight so they can film it and, you know, make people look bad.
The last one I went to was in Edinburgh, and we were like penned in like sheep trying to speak. We were the speaker was had a building behind, so they couldn't get round the back, but they were on three sides. The police were there, but they were still hanging over the fence on three sides shouting at people. I didn't realise how bad it was because I was near the front trying to take photographs and things. But they weren't moved away from it. We were the ones penned in.
Yeah, and so you can see how you've experienced how intimidating that must have been. It must have felt quite scary in some ways.
Well, it could do, but I'm a bit difficult to intimidate.
With your needles.
Sneaky Mouse will tell you that I'm quite difficult to intimidate. I actually walked in with my camera on, filmed myself walking in, because I thought if anything will happen, I've got it on camera. Yeah,
but, I think if I would say that to anyone who goes to a protest, have a camera, because you just don't know what you're going to be accused of or what's going to happen. Because a lot of those protests that turned into riots, there were people that weren't there to riot that got you know, 1 minute they're there doing, just standing there, and the next minute, you know, they're kind of part of it without even realizing. But the thing that I think is important for our American viewers is to know is why those people were protesting, because the way they've been reported on the news, I don't think is fair. People are so angry about what's been going on in the country. And again, I have to be careful what I say. Yeah, and it isn't to do with race at all.
I was watching a video today that was filmed in Middlesbrough, and the people were very rough and ready. And even then people were saying it's not racism, because it is a very diverse community around Middlesbrough. And, you know, there was a guy who said he had Pakistanis in his own family. It wasn't about race. It's not about race. It's about what's going on very recently. That's what it's on.
Trying to choose those words carefully, aren't we? Let's just say that there's a criminal element amongst some people who haven't always lived here.
Not integrating.
Yeah, and some really, really horrendous things have happened
historically.
And the police have historically been on the side of the perpetrators and not the victims, and it really has been upsetting. I mean, it's one of the things in my memory that has angered me more than anything else. And is it
being on the side, or is it being afraid and bullied out of doing something about it?
Sorry, say that again.
Is it that they're on the wrong side, or is it that they're afraid to do something about the
police? Well, I don't know.
Frightened about what might happen if they did.
I think there's a bit of both, depending on who they are. So I think they definitely. There was a police officer, an ex-police officer, interviewed recently on one of the YouTube things that I watch, and he said, yeah, they absolutely do police things differently because they're scared of being filmed and then losing their jobs if they are seen, you know, arresting the wrong kind of person. I'm really trying to be careful what I say. Whereas when it's somebody like Annie or someone like me, they would arrest us without any problem whatsoever because they know there won't be any pushback or blowback on it. But the thing that Tommy Robinson has uncovered in a lot of his, because I've been watching his videos and they're so upsetting, is that there's been a real I don't know what the word is. You know, some of the victims of what's been happening, and I think people do know what I'm talking about here. They've gone and begged for help, and were refused help, and in some cases they have been arrested. You know, there was one woman who was beaten up. A 60-year-old woman was beaten up in her own home, and when the police turned up, they accused her of beating herself up, rather than, you know, going to the trouble of trying to arrest the people that had done it, even though she knew who had done it and told them. There's another case, a girl called Sammy Woodhouse, I think her name is. Her story is unbelievable. She, let's say, ended up pregnant underage because of what was going on. So use your imagination. And now the person that put that baby there, so good on her, she didn't have an abortion, she had the baby. The person who put the baby there illegally, I might add, now has the legal right to access to that child.
Oh, yeah, there's a petition been going on.
Yeah,
like that.
She's trying to get the law changed. But things like that get me so mad because it's that unfairness, and there's nothing I can do. There's nothing anyone else can do. And then when all these things build up, and you see it over and over and over again, and then one thing happens that's just too much. And that is what happened with those girls being killed. And the thing is, it didn't matter whether what people were saying of that person was true. That didn't matter. It was the way the police reported it that mattered. And that's what got people mad. And it's so complicated. Well, it's not complicated. It's just that people who oppose all of the, you know, oppose the people that are angry, don't want other people to know. And says he's saying, you know, that poor woman. And the thing is, it's her story is heartbreaking when you read the whole thing. When I think it's the same girl, was forced to have an abortion as well. So not only did she have this child that she had, she was forced by these people to have an abortion. She was 13. She had the boy, and they had the aborted fetus. The police had it as evidence.
They knew who it was.
And that meant that they had evidence to arrest the person that had done it because it was his DNA. And they mysteriously lost this fetus.
It didn't happen, did it?
Yeah, and they never did the DNA check. So that person, she bumps into him in the local supermarket. Every time she goes, he's there.
Oh, no. Maggie Oliver is who to listen to about all of this, isn't it?
Yeah, she's amazing. Actually, I'll type her name in and then put it on.
Maggie Oliver was in child protection in the area at the time, working in child protection.
Yeah, so she was a police officer, wasn't she? She was a detective, I think, wasn't she, doing that?
All right.
And because she raised this issue that's been going on all over the country, I mean, thousands and thousands of victims, thousands. It's bigger than you can comprehend. It's mind blowing. And because she raised it.
Sorry, interrupting, but it's not just Southport, is it? That was just a trigger.
Yeah. That was just one time. It's happened in Rotherham, in Rochdale, in Telford, Oxford. It's happened in Oldham. I've said Rochdale, haven't I? It's happening everywhere. And what's awful is that if you've got children, so like yourself, Annie, you've got a daughter. I mean, she's older now, but if she was, 13. They wouldn't just be taking her and doing this to her. They would be threatening you and your husband.
Oh, yeah.
They would threaten you.
Everybody's living in fear who ends up involved in it. Yeah.
And if they don't go, and if the daughter, the girl, and especially if they've got younger siblings as well, they then threaten they're going to take that, and they usually do eventually get them as well. But they'll firebomb your house. And nothing happens to these people. Nothing happens to them, and that is what annoys people so much. And was kind of, people are just sick of it. And when you hear these headlines that 3 little girls were murdered, we all have this thought in our head who's done it. Now, it turned out that wasn't actually true this time, but it kind of was. Without going into too much detail, it kind of was true, but kind of wasn't true. There was an aspect of it that was true. But it's like, well, if that is the way it's always been, you're immediately going to think that that's who's done it, because that's what happens. If in Manchester, where I am, literally 2 miles down the road, they blew up a concert when Ariana Grande was there, and it killed 22 young people. And this is what pisses people off, is that they were there and they were making everybody do this thing where it's like, don't look back in anger. We need to protect the communities of the people that did it. We need to make sure they're all right. And the police were sent to their communities and not to the communities of the people that were the victims. And that is what infuriates people.
Yeah.
But sorry, I've gone off one. It's one of the things I can't control how angry I get about this when I talk about it.
Can't start without finishing.
Oh, it's bad, isn't it? It's really bad. And now we're in a situation with Keir Starmer where we're not even allowed to bloody talk about it properly.
Well, can I talk about my personal experiences? Because that's my personal experience.
It depends if... the problem is, it depends if you then could be accused of defamation against somebody. If you're going to say about...
I don't know anybody's names.
You probably can then. Yeah, you probably...
Yeah. Well, the first thing I realised about certain people being disrespectful of women, should we say, was when I was maybe about 11 and I was catching the bus on my own and I had to wait for about 10 minutes. Right. And there was
this is in Oldham, isn't it? Because that's where you're from, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which wouldn't be... It's not far from you, is it?
Yeah, and it's one of the areas, so it's right next door to Rochdale, which was a really bad area. So you could have been one of these victims.
Oh yeah, I could. Yeah. I was kind of a bit sort of clued up. So the first thing that happened was I was standing at a bus stop for about 10 minutes on my own with a skirt that came just above my knee, and there was a middle-aged man. For 10 minutes, he leered at me for 10 minutes solid.
And you were 11?
I was about 11, something like that.
Oh, my God.
He just he just stood there staring at me and making me feel really, really, really uncomfortable. For about 10 minutes without looking away. He was just leering at me. It was kind of, I mean, he was only just looking at me, but it was the way he was looking at me and how long it went on and my age and his age. And it was just.
Did he approach
horrible. You? No, it was horrible. Right. No, he didn't. I don't think he said anything, but it was just the way he was looking at me.
But I bet if that had become a thing where you were seeing him regularly, I bet he would have approached you eventually.
Yeah. Oh, well, yeah. No, I don't.
It's quite a slow process, isn't it? What you do, the grooming process doesn't just happen straight away.
And then when I was older, I was walking home probably quite late on after the pubs and things. And I was on my own for a short distance. And I saw a car full of men go past. Lads, men. And I had high heels on and a tight skirt, and I saw this, and my hair was all over because I was a punk. And I saw this car stop and go to turn round, and I just absolutely legged it. I don't know. You
just knew something.
Well, they drove past me and slowed right down, like crawled past me. Went a bit further down the road and they went to turn round, and I just absolutely legged it. And I keep thinking about it now because of all these things coming up. And I keep thinking, I can't quite remember where I hid. I think I shot in the first gateway and hid behind a tree.
Wow, you have to do that.
Yeah, when they'd gone past, I could hear that they carried on driving. I could hear their engine. So I came out and popped round the corner and I got home all right, but it wasn't pleasant, and we don't know, do we, what would have happened to me? We just don't know.
Well, I think we can imagine what probably would have happened, and your life would have been completely different, wouldn't it? It would have ruined your life.
Yeah. So I had this tight skirt on and high heels and loads of makeup, and my hair stuck out, and I was a punk. But I actually ran more because they thought I was a lady of the night.
Oh, you do realise the crafts now because I'm going to hear that little bit. Annie, lady of the night.
Well, they've not snarked about me yet, so I don't care if they do.
God, it's well, Adam's just posted something in the comments, and I'm not sure I can even put it on the screen. Not for Adam's sake, but for our sake. But I'll read out what he's put that I think we can say. My girlfriend was approached several years ago at Piccadilly Gardens. So for the Americans, Piccadilly Gardens is in Manchester city centre, and it's the centre of everything. It's where all the buses come in, and there used to be lovely gardens there. Now it's horrible. It's all concrete, and it's like something out of I don't know, East Berlin during the Cold War. But at the moment, it is full of, let's say, undesirables. And if you go there in the evening, I as a bloke, I would not go there in the evening. I would not feel safe. And I would say to any woman, avoid it like the plague. But anyway, so my girlfriend was approaching several years ago at Piccadilly Gardens while waiting for a bus to Harper Hay. That's incidental, but and there was, how can I say it? There was a man, she was in her 30s, but that didn't faze him. He's lucky I wasn't there. So this man, I can't say much about him. You can see it in the comments. Yeah. You'll know why. This happened. My friend Carol, she's currently 62, right? Now, about 3 years ago, so she would have been 59 at the time. And she went to her local shop over the road that was run by a person that I can't say much about. And he kept saying to her, and in the end, she got really scared. He kept saying, I've got a mattress in the back. I've got a mattress in the back. She was only going there for a packet of cigarettes. I forget the Americans don't use the word fags. For a packet of cigarettes. It's like, and she was... Yeah, don't say smoking them. Oh, God, we'll get taken off air. And she was like 59, 60 at the time. And it's like, what? And I can't imagine he wasn't doing that to 12 and 13-year-old girls either. You know what I mean? And he still works there, and she won't go in that shop anymore.
No.
You know, and that shouldn't be happening to anybody. Not, it doesn't
No.
matter how old you are, you know. And I just think she's able to handle that because she's older, you know, and she's been
Yeah.
through the mill a bit, whereas a young girl isn't.
No.
Adam's brilliant. Was it an emotional support mattress? That'll be it. Yeah. YouTube losing. Yeah. If am I monetized? I better get unmonetized. I don't know whether no, I'm not. I kind of am, and I kind of not. I don't get ad revenue, so I don't think they can do much in terms of that. But then again, they took politically incorrect knitters video down, didn't they? For something, I don't know what they did wrong.
Talking about the medical things.
Well, Liz has just said it's a scary world. My daughter is always armed when she goes out. Well, the problem that we have, and
we don't have that option.
Yeah, I mean, there was a girl. I don't know whether it was in the Netherlands or Austria, or I don't know where it was, but she was taking pepper spray with her. And as far as I'm concerned, every female should be able, everyone should be able to have pepper spray. You know what I mean? It shouldn't. Well, she ended up being assaulted, and she was arrested because she had pepper spray, and she was charged. And I don't know what the conviction for it was, but going out, and it's so this is kind of the background to what happened and why there were people rioting. Now, I don't agree with riots, but I can completely understand why people were rioting.
They're angry. Yeah.
Yeah.
I used to have hairspray in my in the inside pocket of my jacket.
Was that when you were a punk as well? So you were sorting your hair out and ready.
And ready to squirt someone in the face with it, yeah, if I had to. I was thinking outside the box. Contingency plans. You've got to have contingency plans.
Yeah, well, this is interesting because I've watched a video recently and I didn't realize that this wasn't a thing that, well, I didn't realize it was a thing that generally only men do, because I do this. If I go anywhere, I'm always looking for where the exits are. You know, I kind of know, I just want to be aware of my surroundings, and I'm very aware of other men around, because this comes from the days of when I used to go to the pub a lot more than I would now, and you're getting drunk. And when you're around men, there's always that possibility that there's going to be a fight at any moment, and you could be drawn into that. And I was drawn into fights that weren't my fight in my youth. So you get really good at judging when these things are going to happen. You know, you think, oh, I'm not comfortable here. Something's about to happen. So you can kind of then, you know, get out, or, you know.
There's a body language thing.
Yeah,
when someone's about to fling a punch, and it's they go back like that, apparently.
Well, my dad years ago, he was a policeman years ago. And he told, obviously this only applies to white people, but he said, when, you know, if you have any kind of conflict with someone, if they're red in the face, he said, you're not in any danger because they've used their adrenaline. He said it's when they go white, that's when their adrenaline is rushing to the hands and the feet. And that's when they're either going to run or they're going to punch you. So he always said, if you're arguing with someone and they're going white, get out of there, because, you know, there's going to be a problem. He said, if they're red, you know, you've got a good chance of sorting that out anyway. I don't
really argue with people.
Well, no, but I think the problem when you're a bloke, especially if you're in your 20s, you only have to look at a woman, and if the boyfriend's there, they'll start on you. Even if you've just looked around the room, you know, you'll get that "what the fuck are you looking at, mate?" kind of thing. You know, and you have to deal with that straight away. You have to, you know, you've got to have a comeback or whatever. And it's and it literally can be that quick. You know, I remember being in a pub. It's called the Welly in Salford, and we were all the Welly, the Wellington it was called. And we were all minding our own business. And I'm not kidding. My friend, he had a chain thing around his. I don't even know what was on it. And someone laughed at his chain. And my friend, who he's not particularly violent, well, actually, he is quite violent. I don't know why I'm saying that. I saw him fight quite a lot. And he just started, and he like laid into this guy. But the funny, well, it's not funny, but the weird thing was, the next minute, everybody in the pub ended up fighting because everybody knew each other. And, you know, so everyone was taking sides, and it was like a bar room brawl out of a Western, you know, that one of the stools was thrown out of the window, you know, smashed the window outside. And it was like, Okay, so I'm quite good at spotting these things now. Where and as you get older, you don't get into fights anyway. But
what were you
the
doing
point.
then? Were you fighting?
Oh, I was just fighting people off. I think. I don't think I was particularly. I'm a lover, not a fighter, or whatever that phrase is. Yeah, it was like the old Wild West. Seriously, it really was. Except in Salford, if you can imagine that. So no cowboy boots or cowboy hats. But anyway, what was it? Oh yeah, so we were talking about the the Civil War, weren't we? God, we really went off on one there, didn't we?
Yeah, but the Americans and the Brits were on side, weren't they?
Yes.
How
so
they are now.
Yeah. So basically, the Americans and the British have a very, very difficult history. We have never been friends. So from the moment the Americans got rid of us, we were bitter enemies. And people don't realize this. And we were bitter enemies for a long time. And so you got your independence from us. We then had another war with you in 1812, I think it was, where we burnt down the White House. Sorry. And, so we still hated each other, and we hated each other right up until the Civil War. And it was only because of what the people of Manchester and Lancashire did that made America and Britain friends. And it was because of Lincoln. And what happened was there was all the cotton that the slaves picked in America was sent over on the ship over to Liverpool docks, mostly Liverpool, Bristol as well, but mostly Liverpool. And from Liverpool, it went through the canals and went to the mills, the cotton mills in Manchester and Lancashire. And pretty much everybody at that time worked in the mills. My ancestors worked in those mills, and yours would have done as well, Annie. Probably being in Oldham, your ancestors would have been, yeah. And so from there, they then spun that into yarn, presumably, and then it was weaved. They made blankets and sheets and whatever. And that was kind of, which then they were then using to trade for more slaves later. So there was like this circular thing going on, where they traded for slaves with the linen or sheets that had been weaved by the Lancashire cotton weavers that had been picked, that had come through Liverpool docks, that had been picked by the slaves in the Americas. So that was the circle. And what happened when the war started in America, when the Civil War started, there's some stories say that it was because of Britain that it started in the first place, but I'm not entirely sure. And I know there are Civil War experts in America that will probably say that isn't the case, so I don't want to go down that route. But what happened when they went to war, the northern states, so Lincoln, they blockaded all of the southern ships that were being used to take the cotton over to Liverpool. So the cotton wasn't getting through. And what that meant is that in England, we only had enough cotton to last 3 months. So everybody here knew that there was a 3-month limit on how long they had in terms of having money and whatever. But what they did, they put pressure on the mill workers to get the government to go to war, because we almost joined in the war, and we were going to join the war on the side of the southern states, so the Confederates. That was who we backed as a nation. So the MPs wanted the Confederate, and the reason for that was because they were making a ton of money from the slave trade. The people weren't, obviously, in the mills, they were slaves themselves, really. And they were pressuring them. So when they were out of work, they were starving. They literally were starving. They were trying to say to them, look, if you lobby your MPs and, get them to say, we need to go to war, we'll go in the war and then you'll have your jobs back. But the people said, no, these are slaves. They should be free. They shouldn't be, being treated like this. And we will not go back to work. And so they starved rather than go back to work. And it's quite an amazing thing, really, because most people only think of themselves in those situations and think, oh, well, it's people overseas, we don't care, as long as I'm getting my food. But what people probably don't realize is that the workers of Lancashire lived in homes that were provided by the mill owners. The food was provided by the mill owners. So they lost their homes, or some did anyway. And there was a guy that went round the whole of Lancashire interviewing people, and the book is really interesting. It's called The Home Life of the Lancashire Weavers, I think it's called. I mention it in the article. There's a link to it. And he talks about how they were living at the time with nothing. You know, they didn't have a bed. They didn't even have a chair. They would literally have nothing. Yeah. And it's like people don't realize that they lived in worse conditions than some of the slaves did in America. Because the thing is about that, I mean, you'll hear there'll be people going mad. So how dare you say that? But, you know, these people didn't have shoes, but the slaves in America, their masters bought them shoes. They bought them clothes. They wanted them to look as good as they wanted to have, you know, because they were showing that they had the money to have their slaves dressed the way they were, whatever. But anyway, that's beside the point. But where it got really nasty is the Liverpool people, because everybody in Liverpool was connected to the dock workers, and they ended up starving too because there was nothing coming through the docks. And the problem there was that they supported the Confederates, and I mean, it said, we write about this, and it's in lots of books, that at the time there were more Confederate flags along the Liverpool docks than there were in Virginia, which was the sort of headquarters of the Confederates, I think. So what happened there was that they were starving, and they have never, to this day, even though they don't know about this, they have never forgiven Manchester for that, because that caused them a lot of hardship as well. And to this day, Manchester and Liverpool people can't stand each other, you know. And it's like, but it becomes a joke, you know. It has become a joke now. But we genuinely don't really like each other. You know, I mean, we've mixed and stuff. We go out there occasionally, and people think it's through football, but it isn't. It's because of this Civil War business. But anyway, what happened then was, so people were starving. They wouldn't go back to work. They wouldn't, you know, say go to war. They didn't want that either. And when Lincoln found out about it, so what happened was they were having all these protests, and they were having all these meetings where they were talking about it, and they wanted the slaves to be freed. It was very, you know, very idealistic, really. And the government at the time wanted that to stop. So they said, you know, no more of that. So as a revenge for that, they held a massive one in the Free Trade Hall in Manchester, where so many were there that they couldn't even get in. It was that big. And there they decided they were going to write to Lincoln, which they did, to say, we will always support, you know, you, because you are in favor of freeing the slaves, basically, to cut a long story short. And when Lincoln got that, he wrote back and realized how awful the situation was here. And I think it was 3 ships. He sent 3 ships of supplies over, you know, food and stuff, because people were starving. And the letter that basically is what has cemented the friendship between Britain and America that has lasted ever since. And it's I just think it's quite a cool story, and nobody really knows about it, which I think is sad.
Right, yeah, that's good.
Sorry, I've really whittled on with that, haven't I? But that was my story, which I've been meaning to write about for such a long time. And I'm sorry if you're not interested, but I think it's interesting. Adam knows about it, yeah. So he knows about Lincoln Square in Manchester.
Yeah.
So we have Lincoln Square. We have a statue of Lincoln. He sent it over, but there's a whole story behind that as well, which I won't go into now. But what's really sad is that there's a plaque on the statue with why it's there, but nobody has looked after it, and you can't read it anymore. So nobody actually knows why that statue's there. And loads of pubs in the area in central Manchester, you'll go in them, and there'll be a picture of Lincoln on the wall, just small, not necessarily massive. Like there's one there, you can see it on the right hand side there. That was a pub called the Monkey, I think it's called. I can't remember what it's called now. And that was just on the wall one day, and I saw it. I thought, oh, I'm taking a picture, because I knew I was going to be writing this article. It's like, people don't know. It's like, why would they, you know, I know Americans will have been in that pub and wondered why that's there, you know, and they would never have had a clue. And also, America don't know. I don't think anyone in America has told how we were entwined in that story without real. Oh, because the other thing, what they did, Lincoln sent people over to say to the cotton weavers that were starving, you know, you can come and work in our cotton mills. And quite a lot went and emigrated to work in the American cotton mills then. But also he asked them if they would join the army, and you can come and live in it. And so some did that as well. I mean, obviously others didn't, but they really, you know, he did care about it. And so there's, and when he died, Manchester and Lancashire really mourned. You know, they really did mourn. There were thousands out on the streets over it. Which is hard to imagine now, because I don't think anyone would give a shit about an American president dying now. You know what I mean? We just wouldn't care about it, would we, really? So she never knew about the source of the special. Yeah, because that's the thing that I always find quite funny when you see the president and the prime minister. They always talk about their special relationship, you know, and I always sort of smirk and think, I know why, but I bet them two don't. Oh, here we go. See, here you go. So Adam's from Manchester. See, slagging off the Scousers. Scousers are from Liverpool. So there's definitely, Adam could explain it. He knows exactly. And says, I know my third great-grandfather came here from Manchester in the 1860s. I wonder if that had anything to do with it. It may well. It may well have, yeah, because the thing is about that time as well. So the 1850s was when there was the so-called potato famine in Ireland. So, like with my ancestor, what was really sad for her was that she came here to escape that. And then in the 1860s, bang, she was working in a mill. She was suddenly in a new famine. You know, and it was like you run away from one country to get away from it, and then the next thing you're in another one, you know. So yeah, it could have been. So anyway, right. So moving on. So that was the story of that. Then we've got the crosswords. Says he does the crosswords, and then we've got some the upcoming issues. So we have Feast or Famine is the first issue of 2025. So if you're going to submit anything, you can choose how you interpret that. The original idea was thinking about yarn stash, you know, having a feast of yarn or having a famine of yarn, but you don't have to, you know, stick to that. You do what you like. And then the other one is Hoist the Colours. Now that's in June, and it's kind of a bit of a dig at the whole LGBT pride nonsense. So it's like, what I envisioned with that is people hoisting the colours of their country, but you interpret it as you want, because it's kind of got a pirate theme as well. So you could go down the pirate route if you want to somehow. Don't know how. And then here's the Patreon page. I always mention this. Well, no, I don't always. I forget. So how do they say it? How does Andrea say it on Fruity Knitting? We wouldn't be able to do this magazine without your contributions. So please be a patron. Yeah, this is my full-time job. And without your help, I wouldn't be able to do this. And I wouldn't be able to send you all those elegant designs. So, yeah, feel free. No pressure. The thing, I have real... I have real panic attacks about this every night. Not serious ones, you know, just mini panic attacks. Because when you join as a patron, you don't actually get much for that. It's literally... Thanks. Yeah, it's literally for the production of the magazine. So what you're getting for it is the magazine, which you could get it for free, obviously. One thing you do get is there's a couple of discounts there. One is an excellent one, actually, and I can't even say who the yarn dyer is, but there's a good yarn discount. If you can't find it on the Patreon page, let me know, because it's in I can't think what you call it. There's like little subdivisions of messages, and I've put all the discounts that people can get in there. And if you have a business and you could offer discounts for patrons, let me know, and we'll see if we can figure something out. And there we have Annie running off into the distance, never to be seen again. So there we have issue 15. Yeah, we have to address this. Colours, where's the U? Okay, we had an online meeting with the proofreaders, and so there was Sezi, there was oh God, I can't remember. I shouldn't have started saying names because I can't remember everyone's names. Denise and Laura and Katie, I think, is it? No, it's not Katie. Oh, sorry, I can't remember your name. And we decided that, so it wasn't confusing, we would go with American spellings, because the vast majority of people who read the magazine are American. And yes, I was outvoted. No, I was happy to go with that because it makes sense. Ooh, Adam, you won't make friends saying that. Do the Americans know what that means? Do you think? I won't go there. So that ended that, didn't it? So have we got any questions in the comments? Anything about anything we've talked about, or any questions for Annie? Just seeing what other comments we've got here.
I think there's a cat trying to get in. Can I let her in?
Yeah, of course. Is it Millie?
Well, I've only got the one.
Yeah, it says it's Cockney rhyming slang for yank. So septic tank means yank.
Oh,
Is she there?
No, she's not.
Oh.
It was Emily mucking about.
So, Emily should come in and say hello, because Emily's the one who did the photos.
She can't at the minute.
Shy.
She's off to bed.
Oh yeah, what time are we at? 11 o'clock. Oh, when does Knit Night start? Is it in 12? At 12?
50 minutes, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. So after this is finished, we'll probably wrap up in a bit. Go over and watch Knit Night. Are you going on Knit Night tonight?
I don't know. I'm quite awake now. I might be on for a bit.
I'm probably not going to go on. I've been having a bit of a break from going on YouTube and stuff. I'll be back on there probably next week. I think with all the stuff that's been going on, it's difficult to go on there and be cheerful about shit, isn't it? You know what I mean? Because I kind of just want to moan, which people aren't going to like watching.
Yeah, it has been sort of crazily stressful, hasn't it, really?
Like bubbling underneath. And
I mean, it's not just that. There's other things as well. It's all left, right and centre. It's like almost every news story that you hear is absolutely like ludicrous and you can't believe it's happening.
Yeah. Well, we've had another incident today. Well, we've had two incidents today.
Yeah.
There's been a stabbing in Bolton, which isn't far from me. Well, it's about 8 miles.
I didn't hear about that one.
Yeah. Well, they're not telling us anything about that one, but they're saying that they knew each other. So it's probably a gang thing. So so read between the lines. That means what we're not allowed to say. And then there's been the stabbing in central London, and none of the three people involved know each other at all. So the woman who's been stabbed isn't the mother of the girl that's been stabbed. Apparently, this is what I've understood from it. So an 11-year-old girl was stabbed, a 34-year-old woman, and then the man that's done it is 32, and they're showing his face now. I don't know if they've said while we've been on air. They probably
saw a bit of video of it.
Yeah, and they're I think what they wanted, everybody to immediately assume that he was going to be a certain type of person so that they could arrest a few more people. They deliberately left that very vague. And and it's like... Yeah,
I watch Tusi TV.
Oh, he's brilliant.
Mostly for my news, mostly I watch him, but I watch a few others that... Obviously, if you watch him, other things pop up, don't they? But, I do.
What I like about him, did you see the one where...
He verifies everything.
Yeah, and he was walking through a street. I don't know if it was in London where he was. And he was just kind of giving people a bit of advice on how to be in this world now. And I just thought, do you know what? It was so good what he was saying. He was kind of like saying, you can't be focusing on the negative bit of what is happening.
Yeah.
You've got to try and see the positive aspect. And I know that sounds really sort of cheesy and whatever, but
it
was the way he said it.
Platforms as well, which platforms to air your grievances on and which ones to avoid.
Yeah. But well, what's your prediction with this government? What do you think is going to happen?
Well, I don't know if it's just wishful thinking, but I'm thinking they might just implode. Yeah,
I'm kind of hoping that too. I'm hoping there'll be a scandal.
It's not making much sense. Well, I'm in various chats and people are saying, oh, are we all right to chat about this and that? And I do think that people will be after the government's chats also, won't they?
Yeah.
It'd be nice, it'd be nice if we had a few leaks.
Yeah. Well, the thing I'm a bit worried about is saying the wrong thing, because I don't think anything would particularly happen to me. But I do think that the idiot knitters from the UK, because they are more rabid. What I don't think the Americans realise, the British knitters, they're far, far worse than the American left wing knitters, far worse.
I don't really know who most of them are. They just pop up now and then on.
Yeah, and they're really venomous. But I think that they would, en masse, they would be reporting anything I said that might possibly be misconstrued or whatever. So I kind of have to be careful just because of that, really. Because
there is that, but really, you can't say anything because the things that people have been arrested over.
Oh, it's crazy.
Leave you feeling that you've just got to keep your mouth shut. So if you're doing a live, you're just doing a live. You just hope for the best.
Well, yeah. Well, the thing that gets me is this misinformation nonsense. So basically, you'll be arrested and convicted if you spread misinformation.
Yeah.
Well, you could, but in all good faith, end up spreading misinformation without even knowing it. You know, Keir Starmer did himself when he was saying that the AZ jibby jabby, I don't even know whether we're still allowed to talk. You know, he said that was completely safe, and it's turned out it wasn't. You know, Nittler in the crosshairs, yeah. This is about the stabbing. They've released the pic of the guy who jumped in to save the girl, and I don't think they were related, says he. I think the girl and the woman were unrelated. I think his name was he was Abdullah. His name Abdullah, and he appears Muslim. I don't see anything about the attacker. Well, the thing that the lefties have done with this bit of information, which I just think, why? Because they don't understand us. They think we care about people's race and colour of skin, and we don't. That's the thing. So they're almost sort of saying that this is a gotcha because the man who was the most helpful and was the hero of the day is of this particular, you know, culture. And it's like, I'm just glad he was there. You know, it's like he should have done that. Any man who's, well, anyone, sorry, I'm being sexist, aren't I? Anyone who was in that situation, if they were able to help, should have helped. Maybe it's different. If that's happened, if they've confirmed that later, then yeah. Oh, I shared misinformation then. Oops. Oops. So Therese is in the same position then. It's like,
what about the Olympics misinformation? Because they've been misinformation in us, haven't they? The Olympics.
Yeah, with the whole XX thing.
That just drove me crazy. The amount of conversation and debate and experts that were asked about things, and when it's very, very clear.
Well, I mean, we're not even allowed to talk about this too much.
No.
But let's just say the thing is, those two, the silver and gold winners of that particular sport, should be in a higher weight category, if nothing else. Do you know what I mean? Because they were far bigger and stronger physically than anyone else that was in. And the fact that the pair of them got silver and gold should be an alarm bell to suggest, oh, there might be something odd going on here.
Did they? I thought they both got gold, but I'm not being.
Misinformation again. I don't know. I just assumed it was silver because they fought each other, didn't they? Didn't they fight each other?
No, they were in a different weight class. I think they both got gold.
Oh God, I'm going to get arrested, Annie, for not getting the information right.
Well, you can't be arrested for not knowing things. Surely.
Oh, who knows? Who knows? Oh, I don't know.
There was a videographer. He was who came up from London, and he covered the London gatherings, and he went to Middlesbrough. And I was watching him today because I don't know if he'd edited it or something, but he says this is the first and the last time I'm going to this place.
Really?
It was quite bad, but it was just all idiots out on the streets, smashing windows, front windows of houses, smashing car windows up, smashing cars up, setting cars on fire. The police were, I don't know how many police we have in this area, but it never seems to be a lot. It's more film them and arrest them afterwards, isn't it? So now they're, but it was actually he left his girlfriend in the car, and the cars around her were being smashed up, and they just didn't smash that car because she was sitting in it. and she was on the phone to him. She was saying, "Come back, come back." He got a lift off somebody to get back quicker because she was absolutely terrified.
Got a bet. Yeah.
Yeah, and that was kids.
Right.
It was kids that were smashing the cars up.
Yeah, and they're just doing it because they've got that opportunity to do it. You know, they wouldn't have had any political care either way.
Yeah, there was quite a lot of smashed windows. And a couple of cars were set on fire. Yeah, a bit crazy, really. But then in Hartlepool, because obviously we had one of the first little mini riots, and it was a street that wasn't very long. I'm not sure how many people were out, and I'm not sure how much damage was done, but they swept the street afterwards, which is not something they normally do. So it looks a little bit better after.
Well, the thing leading up to
it's a rough street, and all the shops have shutters, so all the shutters were down.
Yeah. Well, Salford precinct, where I am, was completely shuttered down twice because there was a rumour there was going to be a gathering, but it never happened. But the thing that I don't know if the Americans will know about this.
Well, that was misinformation, wasn't it? Why they didn't happen? Because it was a misinformation that there were going to be 100 riots that there weren't.
Yeah, because none of them, I don't think, happened. But prior to all of those gatherings, shall we say, there was a whole series of things that happened in the week before, which is why people were so angry as well, is that a British soldier, was stabbed by a person that I can't say what kind of a person he was.
Yeah.
He didn't die.
Because he was a soldier.
Yeah, because he was a British soldier. And that brings back memories of what happened to Lee Rigby, which, again, I mean, if you don't know, I won't go into that, but look it up. Look up what happened to Lee Rigby, which was horrific. Yeah. So people remembered that. Then there was what else? Oh, then there was the Manchester airport incident.
Oh, yeah.
Where the police were supposedly, well, they did kick these people in the head, or one of them in the head. But there was only part of the video that was aired on the screen. So everyone thought that these police were evil, racist, evil police. But when the full video came out,
they had to release it, didn't they?
Yeah, there was a lot more context to the story, and you can see exactly why the police reacted the way they did. And the two people were, can't say at the moment because they're trying to sue everyone that's said anything bad about them.
But the original lawyer was on TikTok.
Oh, he was awful, wasn't he? Unbelievable.
And a big following on TikTok and a flash car.
Yeah. Oh, and they were doing this kind of like sob story thing where the pair of them, these two big bruisers, were looking all sad. As if they were the injured party. And anyway, 2 police officers are currently suspended over that. I just think, no, these were armed police. This is the thing to remember. This is in the airport. We don't have many armed police, but the airport police do. And what was happening is they apparently, I mean, I don't know about this. You told me because Tusi had said it. But apparently they're told they're not to use their hands or something. And when they've got the weapon, they have to use their feet rather than the hands.
That they can either have the hand on the weapon or prevent the weapon from being stolen off them.
So, I mean, if that's true, assuming that's true.
Put hands on people.
Yeah, because then they can't get the weapon. Yeah, and that guy tried to get his weapon, apparently, and that's how he ended up on the floor, and that's when he was kicking it. And interestingly, I've seen a video today, which I'm not allowed to share it because that'll get me in trouble, but it was a car trying to escape, and there was a load of police around the car. And it's I think it's a white guy, I can say that. They get him out of the car and they're kicking him. So, but it's a bit like, well, I don't think the police were kicking anybody in any racist intent because they'll do it to white people as well. It depends, maybe it's they've trained badly or whatever, but I don't know. But I don't think they've got racist intent, and that's the thing. But what was the other thing that happened? There was another incident in a similar vein that happened in the same week. I'm sure somebody else was stabbed or killed, and I can't think. Anyway, it's gone. But there was a whole thing that happened that week, and people were just sick of it by the end of that week.
Bit of a crazy week.
I'd like to know how they reported it in America, whether the left-wing media did what ours did, and the right-wing media, supported it.
Don't watch it, anybody.
Oh, well, the Elon Musk thing. Elon Musk thing is so funny. Oh, I thought he'd retweeted me yesterday because somebody called Elon Musk retweet. I was like, Elon Musk retweeted me. I'm going to be a millionaire. And then I found out it wasn't really him. He's like,
Other people might think it's him.
Well, they could, yeah. Yeah, but they're really gunning for it. I just think, he's not done anything. All he's doing is asking questions. Oh, here we go. You just need to get out of the UK, Neil. It's not safe for a white guy there anymore. Well, I mean, it's not safe for anybody now, is it? Everyone else there too, or figure out how to fix your broken country. Well, here's the thing I've been thinking about today, and I just think I shouldn't have to even be thinking about this, but I was working out about pensions because I get my private pension already, but I can't have the state pension until I'm 67, which is a while off yet. But I was finding out that we can draw our state pension from anywhere in the world. You don't have to be living in the UK to get your pension because you're entitled to it because we're paid into the system, you see. So so it doesn't matter where you go. So in theory, when I'm 67, I could bugger off to America, but obviously our pension in America wouldn't go very far. But that's why some people go and live in Spain or in Portugal or Greece or whatever, because they can afford to live on a pension there. So that's one of the things I've been thinking about. Because I would leave this country, but there are certain things that would keep me here for the time being. Like things like, my mum. I mean, she's getting old. When the time comes, I would go then because I've got no. Because she's on her own, you see, so I couldn't just leave her. And also the cats, because I know you can take cats on a plane, but they're not my cats. They're too traumatized by everything. Would you go, Annie? Would you leave?
No, but where I live is really quite different to where you live. But having said that, it doesn't mean that things won't happen, because things do happen as they have. But
well, the demographic is very different, because that was the thing that really shocked me when I came. It was like, oh my God, this is like going back to 1980. Not fashions, but I mean in what the streets looked like in 1980 in terms of who was there.
Yeah, until very much last couple of years, it was very much like the 50s.
Yeah.
Not even the 80s.
It felt safe. That was the thing. I felt completely safe when we went there.
It is changing, though. It is changing. I mean, there was a 70-year-old man killed in the street on a Sunday morning.
Wow.
By somebody who'd just recently arrived in the country and was living in a house of mixed occupancy, sort of.
So again, what we can't talk about.
A criminal.
Yeah.
Already, probably.
Yeah. Oh, God, it's crazy.
So, that was in a quiet Hartlepool street on a Sunday morning, which is, you felt safe. So you're not necessarily safe wherever you are you really?
Yeah. Oh, Adam's doing a lot of in the know questions here. Is all of Manchester like Moss Side now? Okay, Moss Side is an area of Manchester that years ago in the 1800s was the poshest part of Manchester. That's where all the rich people lived. And then I don't know from what year, probably from the 70s onwards, it became one of the worst areas of Manchester, and it became a bit of a joke. You did not go to Moss Side unless you were going to go and buy drugs, and then you went in and got out as quick as possible, because let's just say visitors to the country went to live there, and it, I don't know, had a certain vibe.
So which is the posh bit now then?
Well, lots of pew-pews were in Moss Side. So people who get killed in Moss Side get pew-pewed. And obviously only the bad guys have the poo-poos. I can't say it, pew-pew. None of the good guys have them. So that's another reason to avoid that area. But the posh part now would be Altrincham, Cheadle, Alderley Edge. They're kind of out of Manchester though, aren't they? Oh, Didsbury. Parts of Didsbury are still very posh. One half is student land and the other half is posh. I couldn't possibly say, Adam. I don't know what you mean. I don't know what you mean by that. So what was we saying? Oh yeah, so your area is going to be as bad as everywhere else eventually, probably.
Yeah, yes, but I mean, 40, 50 years ago, actually, in Oldham, there was a big mixture of people then.
Right.
So, which
Well, it was always the funny thing is it was the areas that had the cotton mills that had the first influx of alien visitors, shall we say? So places like Bury, Rochdale, Oldham,
we just
which are
have
now
problems. Really, we have problems up here. You know, there's a lot of people not working. There's a lot of people on benefits. There's drug problems.
I bet Timperley is still got. Yes, Timperley is quite posh-ish. It's funny seeing the names of places that I know coming up because I don't normally see that. But the other thing that's come out this week as well is how many visitors have arrived
Today.
Since January. But do you know how many came today? Have you been told?
Yeah.
Oh, go on.
700
in one day.
I think so.
Oh my God.
On 11 boats.
And they go out and meet them, don't they, and bring them in. It's like,
yeah.
what on earth? I wonder how many females and children there were.
I didn't see any.
No. God. No, because I think we've had, since January, which doesn't sound a lot, but I think we've had 18,000 of these, should we say, unconventional applications.
That is a lot. For this country, that's a lot. I mean, there's some small towns that will have that population, isn't there?
And the thing about that, though, as well, let's say they are, decent people, because I'm sure some will be.
Yeah.
But where are the doctors? Where are the police officers? Where's the fire brigade? Where's the teachers to cover those extra people? It's like you say, it's another town, isn't it? So you need a doctors. You need an extra, and they're not creating those extra.
They don't even create the infrastructure when they build more housing estates.
Yeah,
we're building houses at an alarming rate anyway. And they always get planning permission, and they say, "Oh, we're going to build this and that, and the school and all the rest of it," and then it doesn't happen.
Oh, the other thing that's that the government has done, and I think this is revenge. I'm convinced this is revenge because some of the criminal element of the protesters decided to try and burn down an asylum hotel. Because what the government has done, the Tory government did this as well, and the Labour government carried it on, but they were putting these visitors into top hotels, 4-star and 5-star hotels, and that's where they were being kept, free bed and board, free food, free, good stuff. And
which is another thing that people are angry about, isn't it? Because a lot of people live
in those areas. Like I personally know someone that works in one of these hotels in Salford. She says the amount of she's not been let's say the worst of it, but she's been touched, say, by people in the hotel. But anyway, so what the government is doing now, and this is the bit that I think is revenge, because of trying to burn one of these or two of these hotels down, they're now going to scatter them. They're calling it Operation Scatter, which you couldn't even bloody make up if you tried. And they're going to scatter them all throughout the country. And every county, so our country is split up into little counties. So like Lancashire, what's your county again? I've forgotten. Teesside, isn't it? Is it Teesside?
It's a weird one with counties. We're actually Durham.
Well, Durham, Greater Manchester, anywhere, Cheshire, all of them. They're going to have 3,000 each county. Will have to take 3,000, and where they're going to put them is, so these are illegals, by the way. So what we call, not their asylum. They're not going through the proper channels, so they're not citizens yet, or even got the right to be here.
They're never going to, are they? They're not going to sort them out properly.
But the social housing list. So in this country, anybody can go on the social housing list. It's not the same as in America with the projects or whatever they call it. It's not as stigmatized as it is in America, because anybody, you can be working and you can have a council house or a council flat. But what they're doing is there's hardly any left. People have to stay on waiting lists for 2, 3, 4, up to 10 years to get a council property. Even if you've lived here all your life and every generation before you has lived here. So what they're doing now, any empty spaces on the housing list are going to be filled by the 3,000 that are brought into your county first. So they're going to be living amongst us all wherever, we don't know. So the flat next door where, you know, the awful thing happened to my neighbour, that will probably be one of these people. So I don't know how that will go. But yeah, and that is going to annoy people even more, because that means, again, our people, I've got to be careful how I say this, the people who are here already are being pushed back in the queue in favour of people that have literally come over on a boat and come here illegally.
Well, they say the places where the riots were the places where people don't have the jobs.
I think it was of the 7 places, because I think there were 7 places. They are the most deprived area. They're in the 10 most deprived areas of the country.
Yeah.
So there's a direct link to that, and they won't listen to the people. You know what they need to do is go to these places where the riots were and sit down and talk to people, and don't judge them on their language, their use of. Because the problem is, a lot of people from these places, they're not eloquent because they've not had great educations. They're poor. You know, they talk rough. You know, they you know, these upper middle class Oxford, Eton and Oxford educated people just take the piss out of them because they think they're stupid. But it's like, they're, you know, just because they're not the same level intellectually doesn't mean they're stupid. You know, and they should listen to them, but they won't. And they don't give them leeway when they say the wrong thing, because they often say the wrong words.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I'm generalizing here. I'm being as bad
they
as
don't live somewhere where they have to put up with this.
Oh, well, did you see Tim Fallon? Farron. Well, Tim Fallon or Farron, I can't remember his name now. He used to be the leader of the Lib Dem party, and he posted this thing saying that
right,
nobody is what? Sorry,
Suzik put a good comment on. That's right.
Yeah. Education does not equal. Yeah. So basically, people that haven't been educated to the same level as these privately educated people. But anyway, this Tim Farron was going on saying, "Oh well, nobody's destroying churches where I live and things like that." And so I did a bit of research, and again, I've got to be careful. He lives in this really posh village, and it's 93% white, and it's a tiny village. No, it's more than that. Sorry, it's more than that. There's literally 7 people that are not of that area, if that makes sense. I'm trying to be careful what I say. And it's like, well, no, nobody's going to be destroying your church and trying to hurt you if there's only 7.
When I came to Hartlepool, I was an incomer.
Yeah. So were you the problem? Were you running around trying to kill people?
Where are you from? Yeah.
Yeah, we don't like outsiders, do we? It's like,
in fact, because I was at the art college,
here.
Everybody knew where we lived because it was a big house that was made into flats. So yeah, kind of common knowledge where we lived.
Yeah, it depends how you get here, says he. If you come over on a dinghy over the channel, yeah, they'll put you in a 5-star hotel for free. You have to come from France, though. You know, from that war-torn country, France.
Yeah, it's not safe in France.
It's not safe, is it? You know. Oh. I was thinking about Tommy Robinson the other day, and I'm so. I hope people know who I'm talking about when I say Tommy Robinson. But I'm so hoping he claims asylum in America, because I just think if he was accepted, I just think what a message that would send. You know, that somebody from here.
Likely to at the moment, though.
Well, I think they would only possibly do it if Donald Trump got in. But though the problem is, Trump is friendly with Nigel Farage, and Nigel Farage won't be associated with Tommy Robinson. So I think, because Tommy Robinson once begged Donald Trump when he was in power for asylum. But he wasn't in America, though, and that's the problem. You have to actually be in the country to claim asylum.
Farage won't have anything to do with him, but isn't that to maintain his own position?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think he agrees with a lot of what he said, but he's doing it to save his own skin, basically.
Yeah.
Because Farage is the acceptable face.
But he's more used to us where he is, isn't he?
Yeah.
So we have to kind of put up with that. But I believed all the rhetoric about Tommy Robinson until quite recently, really, but I've watched him.
Oh, his videos.
He's done now. Yeah.
Yeah, his videos. You should watch. I mean, they're not. You know,
He does
they're
get a bit angry. Like he does, like sound like he's saying worse words than he's saying because of the way he puts it across.
Oh, there was one.
His actual words. He's making a whole lot of sense.
And he says things wrong, doesn't he? Because again, he's not educated.
Yeah, he's a bit.
So,
yeah.
You know, his English grammar isn't very well, and also he's isn't very good. God, I'm as bad. I'm just as bad. And also he's from an Irish family, so a lot of his phrases are from Irish phrases, which don't sound right to us. But what I was going to say, oh yeah, there's one video I did have to laugh because he confronted one of these people that have been doing awful things to the young girls. He was a plumber or something, and they booked an appointment for this guy to come in and look at the washing machine. And when he turned up, it was Tommy Robinson. But the thing is, he was so worked up, Tommy Robinson, he could barely get his breath, and he was like, you could see his adrenaline was going in. And I just wanted to say, Tommy, just calm down. Just calm yourself down. You'll have a heart attack. But, yeah, it's a funny time to be here. We should do a poll. How many of you watching would come to the UK at the moment for a holiday? Can you do a poll? How do you do a poll on it? I don't know how you do it. Somebody said you can do it.
Tusi asks people to put number 1 in the chat if they would come, and number 2 if they wouldn't.
Or Y or N. So what should we do? Y or N? So put a Y in the chat if you would come on holiday here at the moment, and an N in the chat if you would not come here at the moment. I won't give you names out, by the way. We'll just try and count them up. I think everyone's asleep. Wake up!
It's not happening like it does when I'm watching other people.
Oh, we've got a yes. Oh, we've got a no and a yes.
A no and a yes.
So 1-1 at the moment.
It depends where you go. It's it is. News is scary because news is all the negatives, isn't it? Wherever you're talking about. Oh, we've got more 2 yeses and 1 no.
Obviously that. We've got another yes. Oh wow, I'm impressed.
Oh, that's good. Must be watching the right kind of news from the right kind of place.
Yeah. So 3 yeses to 1 no at the moment. Yeah, I wonder which part they would want to go to, though. That's the other question. Rotherham, Rochdale, yeah, Telford,
Luton.
Oh Jesus, Luton.
Brighton. Brighton's bad for a whole different set of reasons.
Oh, I lived in Brighton. I went to university there. Oh God, I told you about the.
Yeah.
You'd go north.
But
isn't Nitchway? Aren't you British anyway, though? Nitchway. I'm sure Nitchwation was British. Or is that somebody else with a similar name? Nitchwation or something. I don't know.
When I people up here think that Manchester's the Midlands.
Yeah, it will be to them, won't it? Yeah.
Because you're like about 120 miles south.
Are you like, no, I'm northern. I'm northern.
Yeah, it was like that when I first came here. Getting ready for it night.
Oh God, yeah, we'll have to wrap it up a bit.
Whatever will be the funniest thing. The funniest thing,
Funniest thing, yeah.
Would be to come to.
Therese would want to be part of protests, I think, wouldn't you, Therese?
Go to a Let Women Speak. That would be good.
Oh no, Nitchuational isn't British. I've got misinformation again. I'm going to go down for life. I tell you. Where have I got that from? I think there's another person with a very similar username and she lives in Dorset, I think, in the UK. I'm sure she does.
Does she watch your things, or did she pop up on Instagram this week?
I think Instagram, and I think her name is just Nitchuation rather than Nitchuational. I think I might have got that completely wrong. Probably have. So basically, people would generally still come.
That's good.
It's because they want to stay with me or you. I've got no spare bed anymore. I've got a spare room, but I've got rid of the bed because I want to turn it into a room like you've got there.
But I've got a spare bedroom, but it's the cats.
Yeah. Well, that's what that bedroom was. It was the cat's room. I went in because I never used to go in, because there was nothing in there for me apart from boxes of yarn, plastic tubs. I went in, and I'm not kidding. When I moved the bed and put the bed down, cat vomit under the bed. There was just tons of it. It was like, oh. Oops, wrong one. Oh, here we go. Pirate Tomsky's here, causing trouble.
Yo.
Yeah, you better watch out, Tomsky.
Oh, he lives in a posh bit, doesn't he?
Oh, he does, yeah. Yeah, people that don't know Pirate, he's very posh. Yeah. Well, we're supposed to be going, Annie and I are supposed to be going to visit him, aren't we? We're going to do a live there with him in person at some point. I don't know when we're going to do it because he kind of lives somewhere vaguely between us, doesn't he? So we can both travel to where he is. Can't say where he lives, though. Can't say.
No. Vaguely between us.
You're posh, admit it.
We'll go and find out.
Yeah. Well, I've seen a picture. He showed me pictures of inside his house. And he's...
that he's decorated for him.
Yeah, if I said, pictures of where I live, you wouldn't think I lived anywhere posh. Did I tell you I got rid of the caravans?
I was just going to ask you.
Yeah, I went on the council website to find out what the rules were about it, because I was really worried that we were going to end up swamped with them. And I don't want to be awful, but there's usually problems when caravans turn up, if people know what I'm talking about. Anyway, I looked and it said that you're only allowed to put a caravan on land if you've got there's a word, permission, but I can't remember what it was. And basically they said that there is nowhere in Salford has permission for caravans currently. So I've sent them an email and said, look, they're congregating, shall we say. And then within 2 days they were all gone, disappeared in the middle of the night. Good. So I was quite relieved because I thought, I don't, after all the crap that's gone here, I don't want more trouble going. Oh yeah, Teresa's got to go. Thank you for joining us, Therese. I'm not going to join you tonight, by the way, but I'll probably watch you. But I'll be with you. I'm going to try and come next week. It says he's going to come on a dinghy and stay in a 5-star hotel on our tax money. Yeah. Oh, you'll get your own home, says he.
With a load of blokes.
Yeah.
Can't imagine that being a very pleasant journey.
God, yeah. Can you imagine? Oh, God.
Well, yeah, I can imagine.
Oh, Tomsky's off to bed. Well, that was a quick meet there, Tomsky. Anyway, shall we wrap it up? Because we've been on for nearly 3 hours, and there was me saying,
right, load of moaning and whinging.
Yeah, that's all we do now, isn't it? In Britain, we just moan about everything.
Did you read about this and did you read about that?
Oh, I've been moaning today just because of how hot it's been. It's been really humid today.
Been warm.
Yeah, I've had I've got the fan on now. I don't know if you can hear it in the background, but I've literally been sat in front of it.
I've had mine on, but not while we've been on here.
Shelley's had the same thing where she lives in Portland. Every few months they clear out the campers. Oh, are they the same thing? Campers, compared with what I was talking about.
Nomadic people in campers.
Or a campers.
Or holidays.
Yeah. Well, put it this way, nobody comes to Salford for a holiday, whereas I'm sure people do go to Portland for holidays. No.
We've had them on the big field on the seafront.
When I was there, they were there, weren't they? There was a couple.
Were they?
When
long.
Yeah, when we went to the museum thing, they were on the thing there, weren't they?
Right.
Yeah. I think there was only one or two, though.
Yeah, there was, just a handful, but the council gives them a notice and that's it, they're off.
Yeah, that's how you do it, says he. Fly to France, get over on the channel. Or the other thing you could do is hold on to the bottom of a lorry. And then as it drives over the tunnel, a lot of them do that as well.
Yeah, God. You have to be kind of fit for that, don't you?
I wouldn't be able to do it. Bloody hell. Well, I wouldn't be able to even bloody get in one of them dinghies with my knees. Campers and caravans saying.
Mm.
All right. So is it? So the nomadic people will have campers and caravans there rather than the kind of caravans we have here. Then probably. But anyway, Annie, thank you very much for joining us for our whinge session. And
thank you very much for having me.
Yeah, thank you for knitting the shawl and posing and doing the photos. Yeah, and I think we'll have to do something similar again at some point next year or something. So I'll have to do another design that you can model, because I think you're a good model. I think it's a shame that you don't do more.
Well, yeah, it's the modelling aspect, not the aesthetics. It's the being.
No, you're a real person. I'd rather have real people, than I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know, but not me. I don't want to be a model. But anyway,
are you sure? Do you need to get your jumper modelled?
Yeah, I need to write that up, don't I? Because I've got a few jumpers now that I've designed that I need to write.
There's no reason why, as being a real person, that you can't model your own jumpers.
Yeah, but they'll look better on somebody else, though, if I'm honest. I'm not model material.
So am I.
No, you were good. You're a good model.
What about Emily? Emily would have been good, but I wouldn't.
Yeah, she would actually.
Photographs. But
I didn't know. When I walked into your house and met Emily's, Emily could be a model, couldn't she? She could be a model. And as soon as I walked in, I thought, I've got an idea. I'm going to have to get Emily to model something at some point.
Yeah, she would.
Yeah, because we were going to have. This might be an idea we could still do at some point. Emily's boyfriend and his brother are champion kickboxers, aren't they? Is that right? Kickboxers?
MMA fighters.
MMA. And they're both champions in different weight divisions. So we could have them doing modelling, and that would keep a lot of people happy, I would imagine.
Yes, if they can fit it in their schedule.
Yeah, they're going to be very busy, aren't they?
They are very busy.
Oh, hello, Anne. I only just arrived to find out that I'm not real. Ooh, I'm not sure I understand. Do you understand? I don't know what she means. But anyway, Annie of A Stitch in the Sky, you have been blocked.